Ghost down the hallway, there's a presence, bedroom shadows, cloaked and haunting me, cold hand touching me, fear overwhelming me, tapping at my window, I can't bear to open my eyes, a breath on my neck, floating apparitions everywhere, go to sleep with the light on, I wake up paralyzed. Ghostly apparition hovering over me, asking what it wants to know. I'm shaking now, it calls out my name, cloaked and haunting me, cold hand touching me, fear overwhelming me, tapping at my window, I can't bear to open my eyes, a breath on my neck, floating apparitions everywhere, go to sleep with the light on, I wake up paralyzed.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to PRT. I am your host, Tony Mushu, and welcome to the Real Reality. As you can tell, I am hosting tonight's call-in show. It is all me alone, as it always has been, carrying this ship forward. It's what everyone should expect. Nothing happens around here without me. It is honestly the truth. And Anthony's over here making a bunch of noise, so I can't really focus, but I'm going to be the one who's going to carry PRT forward into the future. If y'all would be there with me. How's everyone doing tonight? If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. Tonight is a call-in show. Tomorrow will be the Patreon. Wednesday is going to be another regular show. If you missed Sunday's episode, then you're going to want to watch that to catch up so you understand what's going to happen Wednesday. Thursday is going to be a members only. Friday is going to be an interview. Saturday is True Crime Paranormal. You guys want to make sure you don't want to miss that. Those have been awesome. It is Rain, Wolf, and Maddie. They get together. They talk about the paranormal aspects of serial killers and the things that they have done and why they have been led down that road. So it's very interesting. I've been enjoying it. And as always, Sunday is our flagship show where we go over stories. It's usually me, Anthony, and Wolf once again. We talk about all kinds of things, so you're not going to want to miss that. Now, if you missed it, Anthony posted the link somewhere up here. There it is. Make sure to go ahead and click on that and join so you can be a part of this call-in show. Hey, Rita Burnett, always nice to see you. Gwen, Dawn. This is our new studio. We've been kind of fleshing things out. It's not perfect yet, but it's coming together really nicely, and I'm really happy with it. There's a lot more space, so I think everyone here feels a lot more. There's so much room for activities, so we're all so happy. Hello, Duke the Legend. I'm going to invite on Andreas.
Tony, I want to get something out of the way first.
Oh, 1 second. All right, go ahead.
I love you, but what did you do to Wolf? Did you murder him so you can take his place? Do you want?
I don't know who you're talking about. I've always been the host. I lost a lot of weight. Maybe that's what you mean. I've just been very
Oh man,
slimming, I guess you could call me.
do you want everyone to worship you as the Mustache Lord now?
No, I mean cult leader Dick did that of his own being. I don't want anyone to worship me, but if it happens, it's not my fault.
Cult Master Dick isn't here right now, though. You are.
That is the problem. And as an idol, I can't really lead y'all the same way that he can. He's got fundraisers, he's got meetings, PTAs, he's got it all going, and I'm just not there yet.
Really? No.
Too much.
And what about Banjo? Is he doing all right? Did you give him his pay of the money that we all gave him? Is he being safe, taken care of?
Yeah, he got all of that money. He's doing so well, Andrea. You won't even believe what he's doing with that money. I saw him, down 6th Street, going into bars and stuff. So he's been chilling, doing real awesome.
Oh, I didn't know he liked going to bars. Does he like any bars in particular?
He likes those real seedy bars, I guess. I got him from the streets. You can take the dog out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the dog.
There's a metalhead bar downtown called the Dirty Dog, and he's real fond of that because that's what he is. He's dirty. He's a dog. So I mean, like he wandered into it thinking like that he's gonna get like free food or something, but he just ended up getting his eardrums blown out by like satanic death metal. Mm-hmm. But he just keeps going back. So
yeah, because he thinks like he's gonna find a little girl down there, a little girl dog.
Well, that's a surprising fact about Banjo.
Well, the more you know, and that's what we're here for, is to teach and to let you guys understand the real reality. And the reality is Banjo's a little heathen, a little degen. He's out here degenerating it up. So what can you do?
Right, that's fair.
How you doing, Andreas?
I'm doing great. I'm alive. I'm kicking.
That's always a blessing.
Yep. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, man?
Tired, man. Like me and Tony have been slaving away over hot microphones. It's setting up this new studio we got, but it's nice, man. It's gonna come together. It's coming together really nice. It's gonna be like we have so much more space here, and just I don't know. I like it better. It's so much better of a setup. Like we got more. I don't know. It just feels like a little more like open.
Yeah. There's a lot more space.
There's more potential for like just whatever it is that we want to do.
So much room for activities.
Yeah, you guys were excited about the move, and I'm glad about everything. Like I've been watching some old lives or remembering some ones. I remember you guys complaining about some certain things, and now that you're out of there, you guys seem happier.
Yeah, we definitely are, and we just like we said, got to put it together. But once we do, it's going to be really nice. We have a lot of other things planned.
All right, that's great, man. Well, I see you guys set up some more stuff earlier with what's behind Tony. That looks nice.
Yeah,
that looks simple, but you would not believe how much time and effort that takes. Like, I started getting the stuff for that early this afternoon at Home Depot, and me and Tony We're still not done with it. Like we stopped doing this because we realized that the show,
Need to be going.
yeah, that it was like 8:30, and we're like, oh crap, we're not even done with this, so we just have to clean up and get started. But yeah, I mean, it's tiring. It's a lot of stuff, but that's okay. I mean, like it's
worth it.
it's good to like earn that, like that tired, like at the end of the day when you're tired, it feels good to know that you actually earned it instead of just being tired from sitting around doing nothing.
And I think it's coming out really, really nice. It's coming along. I mean, I was pretty surprised because like we were doing it and I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. I don't know if it's gonna work, but like we started just tacking them up, and now it looks great. I think it really, really, really was worth our effort.
Well, that's true.
Thank you.
We've been sneezing like crazy though.
Yeah, but we got to finish that wall behind Tony, and then we're gonna work on this one behind me, so that me and Tony can have fancy stuff. Because it really, like, just that little bit, like I was listening on my phone to check the audio, and just that little bit made a huge difference with the echoes.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah, it did.
So I'm pretty happy with it. You want to drop that link again in case anyone wants to join?
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you guys are in a happier mood and everything's going on pretty much streamlined, smooth.
I mean, we're definitely happier, and we've been doing a lot of work over this past weekend, so we're just kind of prepared, are happy to like kind of shoot off into the future, and that's what we're kind of focused on.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff like in the works. Like we're gonna branch out into some new business ventures that we've never done before. But I mean, that's okay because everyone, like, it's one of those things where, like, you look around and you see people from all walks of life, from all over the world, starting all kinds of businesses, especially people from other countries, like even people from like developing and third world countries. They'll come here with nothing. They barely even speak the language. You give them a few years and they own a business. Like, why is that? Why? And meanwhile, people like Americans, they feel like, oh, I can't get ahead, I can't do this, can't do that. Well, it's really about like your mindset. I mean, if you throw your lot in with people and kind of run things as more of a collective, then like that's how these people can come here with nothing from really bad countries and end up being successful, because they don't look at things as, this is mine, that's yours, I'm over here and you're over there, I'm doing my thing and you're doing their thing. Like Americans, like, we all wanted to have be on our own island. Like, we all want to have our own agenda. And they don't, like, foreigners, immigrants, they don't have any concept of that. At least not when they first want to get started and get established. Like, they don't care. They'll live like 10 people to a 2-bedroom apartment, like, it just, whatever it takes, they'll do it. And they'll start businesses that they don't have any experience with, and they just figure it out as they go along. So, like, we're gonna do the same, and it's exciting. It keeps life, keeps life flowing. It keeps your mind challenged and keeps your body challenged, and I don't know, it gives you something to look forward to.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the main things is that we've kind of steeled ourselves to being able to try new things, and and try things that we're entirely not comfortable with. And the main reason we're able to do that is because, like, for me personally, I want to find out what I'm passionate about and find out what kind of things I would like to do, or what kind of things I'm really good at. And so we've kind of been discussing some business ventures going forth, and it's been real exciting because, like, I see things that are like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this, and oh, like, I want to try that, even though I know it's going to be difficult. Like, it kind of still seems like enriching to even know how to do that. And especially with us having that ranch now, like, we're just coming up with all sorts of ideas and kind of just going through things and trying to figure out, like, oh, what exactly can we do and be kind of, or enjoy. And I think that's what's so cool about having Loki out there. Thank you, Gwen, for those that donation. Your cult fees, we appreciate it. Now, which cult is this? The PRT cult or the mustache cult? You gotta.
Well,
Yes.
Tony, I think we already seeing as how you're the boss now. Unfortunately, Wolf has passed away under suspicious circumstances. So
About it. I don't know who you're referring to. I have always and will always be the host.
Anthony, are you gonna challenge Tony for his lordship or no?
What are you talking about? I'm not aware of any change that occurred.
I don't know what's going on. Andreas keeps.
Oh, okay. So everybody's
talking
heard it.
We
about?
talk about wolves and dogmen, I guess, but I don't. He keeps bringing that up. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you talking about a werewolf? Did you see a werewolf, Andres?
Oh, I wish. Oh, I wish.
Oh,
But
you
at the
wish
same time, I
you seen a
don't.
werewolf.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Well, because we definitely don't have any of those here.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly, Randy. Make sure you guys join the Patreon. You'll get a show on Tuesday, and you'll also get a lot of merch by joining one of the tiers. So it's definitely worth it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, guys. And if you want to go ahead and join us in this open line so we could start discussing some paranormal, click that
And,
link.
in terms of the paranormal, have you you guys? We were just talking about the Glimmer Man yesterday, if I remember correctly. Like, and you guys are talking about how these things constantly follow you. Do they like follow you like from all over the world? Because you've talked about that several times, especially from a soldier who went to the Middle East. So what's like? Do you think there's like a limit to what they can do, or no?
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me personally, I think how we see time and distance very differs from how these paranormal creatures will see time and distance. So what may seem like, oh, you're moving very far away, to them just be like, oh, you just moved from one neighborhood to another. Like you're not really that going that far. Because I personally have interviewed a witness who moved all over the United States to escape these dogmen that were following her and like basically just harassing her. And no matter where she went, eventually they would find her. And like she kind of just was at her wit's end because she was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do to be able to escape these things. So I think it just kind of just depends. And you know, there are definitely some laws in place that restrict or like allow certain creatures in, and maybe some other ones aren't. Other cryptids aren't allowed in that area, or spirits. But I mean, what do you think, Anthony?
To me, what happened to my microphone?
No,
Jeez, that's so weird.
it's been acting up.
Yeah.
People said they couldn't hear me either.
But to me, so I think that these things that they have territories, but it really depends on like what entity. Like it's something I think needs to be taken on a case by case basis. I think that depending on what is attached to someone, they can have territory that they can be bound to just a property, or they can be bound to like an area the size of a county. They can be bound to an area the size of Texas or the size of the United States. It depends on how powerful of an entity, of a being, a metaphysical being that is, because even though they are fourth dimensional creatures, if they are on our three-dimensional plane of existence to a degree, they still have to operate by the rules of the third dimensional world, which means that they're not always going to be able to just kind of teleport from one part of the globe to the other. You know, these things that they do, I believe they are restricted to a degree by certain laws, like, because in scripture it says, as in the spirit as in the flesh, right? And I always refer to that verse, because it goes a long way to helping us to understand how things operate in the spirit world. So here on our three-dimensional plane of existence, if you go on someone's property and they have purple posts and a no trespassing sign, like you're asking for trouble. Bad things are going to happen. So most people in their right mind they don't do that. Well, it's the same way, I believe, with spiritual beings. You know, they can physically, they can break the laws of their realm, but there are consequences, and they don't always want to deal with having to outrun those consequences, or like like metaphorically looking over their shoulder, you know. Um, but some of them, they probably can go from one area of the country or even the globe uh, to the other, and like in order to follow someone, but they may not necessarily want to do that because there are consequences for them doing that. And others, they're probably just, they don't have the ability to do that, you know.
Yeah, like Taki said, I mean, I think they do have a way to track your, I don't know, energy. And so, like, no matter where you go, I think they will have like a lock on you. So l- you might be able to escape them for a little bit, but if you ever come back, like, they'll have that still reading on you. And these things are petty and like they hold grudges. So, it's hard to say, like, if besides Christ, if there's really a way to just, escape them. And I think, a lot of people want to look for other ways to escape them when, the answer is right there, right in front of you.
Yeah, and that's when it kind of gets
Turn my
tricky.
mic up.
Okay,
It's the second time someone said that.
all right, there you go.
There you go. Is that better, everyone?
But it kind of gets tricky when, like, people, like, if okay, if you're looking for if you're someone who looks for an alternative to Christianity, to calling on the name of Christ, when dealing with metaphysical spiritual beings, it's, I'm not so close-minded to say that, like, to say that nothing else will work besides Christ, but the name of Christ is definitely a one size fits all solution. But the problem is that some of this other stuff, like people who are very well versed in dabbling in like actual real magic, like a esoteric occult magic, um, you can actually, like, some of it actually can bind and repel certain entities. But it's I believe it's more of a
And okay,
it's more of a case by case thing, you know, like you have to do certain things for certain entities, for certain types, you know.
yeah,
So it gets really complicated, you know. Like there's no one thing that's going to just protect you from everything outside of Christ.
yeah. I'm actually gonna bring up something that you said a couple of
Hmm.
months ago. You and Wolf were talking at home, and then you guys brought up the recording. And as you were saying about, you have to do all these different rituals to fit certain elements or the things this entity is connected to create an earthly barrier or trap to effectively stop it. And as you said it before, Christ was actually given authority through his Father on all things here. And
Hmm.
it like Christ just removes it entirely or just stops whatever it's doing. Whatever, all these people who resolve to give all this worship, all this power, do these practices, it's only a temporary stop. It doesn't solve all the issues like it does with Christ. But why not just go to there? Like I get like in some people's mind, it's always God, but that's the thing. He's God. He's all powerful, and he sent a tiny fragment of himself here to get us out of it. And when you mention the territories, everything here already, in a sense, belongs to him. And just like when the devil tried offering it to Christ when he met him, it was never really his to give.
Yep.
And so like, and you've brought it up several times, and I understand why. And these mentalities, all these people go through, they rather go through all these steps when you just need one. And sure, it's a bit hard for most people to fathom, but there's a reason why it says in the scriptures we can't rely on our own understanding. Just
Mhm.
go with what works. And from all this past year and a couple months add to that, everything I've been hearing is Christ is the one who stops it.
And that's definitely true. But the thing is, I think a lot of people don't realize these creatures, these spirits, they will continue to test you. They are patient. They have a lot more time than what we've realized, and this is all that they will do. So at some point, they will continually come back, and so you have to remain strong in your faith, and you have to remain strong in Christ, so that you can continuously repel them. I think people think like, oh, it's a one-time fix, like, oh, you do it and you're good forever, and that's just not the case. You need to be able to just be there and just continuously hammer at them with the power of Christ and the armor of God, so that you're able to continuously be, safe and continuously be unharassed by these beings.
But it's also a matter it's also a matter of short-term versus long-term results. I think what makes kind of like sorcery and all that kind of stuff appealing to people is it's that they want something like right here, right now, and they, especially whenever people feel like they're helpless or powerless, and there are circumstances or people in their lives that they can't resolve or they have no control over. And people get really desperate, which is why when you go into developing countries, and like from Mexico on down to Central and South America, there's witchcraft and like native, like pagan shamanism is very prevalent, and poverty will really do that to people. In Eastern Europe, in these communist countries, they have a lot of the same. It's just a different form, like cultural form of witchcraft. But and the allure of it is because like they actually are tapping into something that is really there. Like people don't, not y'all, not us, obviously, but the average Joe, the average
Uninformed.
Sally soccer mom, and whoever, the average guy just eating nachos and hot dogs and watching the game, that they don't really think about the fact that there is a world that is an underlying world that exists beneath what we see, that is constantly interacting with our reality. And these like witches and sorcerers, warlocks, they know how to, like, what they do is manipulate that underlying world. They know how to tap into it, and these different sigils, these different even sounds, different combinations of things that stimulate human senses, that they serve as like focal points to get their minds to like hyper focus on manipulating certain parts of that. And the point is that they want specific results, and that's where it gets like really dangerous, because you can't really control exactly what's going to happen. It's like the difference between a sniper and a hand grenade, and things can get really out of control really quickly, and there is always a price to pay with that. You cannot get something for nothing. That is not a thing. The only way that you can get something, a blessing in your life, and not be required to do some horrible bad thing, is Christ. I mean, that is it. But the trade-off is that you may not always get your immediate results, and the results that you want may not come in the form that you want. And that is what really trips people up, because we're flawed people. We're human beings. We want not just what we want, but we want it how we envision ourselves receiving it. We want it how we want it. We want it when we want it. We want it where we want it. Christ says, I will give you everything you need and most of what you want, but it's going to be on my time. It's going to be on my terms, not yours. Let's go back to scripture. He says, my ways are not like yours. That's another, I love that verse too. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, man.
Yeah, and what I would like to add to what Anthony was saying, and a lot.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Hey, Kevin.
Hanging in there. How you doing?
We're doing good.
Got a cool beard going there.
Your hair is always awesome, man.
Good to be here. How's
Turn
everybody
you up a
tonight?
little bit, Kevin. You're a little bit quiet. There we go.
Don't get used to that.
No, there you go. That sounds way better already. But I was gonna say, like, and a big reason why they test you and why they can't continuously come after you is because like you're on the right path. When you're doing this witchcraft and the occult, they will leave you alone because you've already fallen. And there's like, oh, why would I continuously like try to go after this guy? Because there's no need to. They come back and they test you and they keep putting pressure on you and harassing you because like if that didn't happen, I would actually see that as a bad thing, because that means like, oh, there's no need to do anything to him. These forces of evil will continuously come after you because they feel the need to, because you're on the correct path and you're following Christ and you're doing what needs to be done. And if they didn't do that, that means that something has gone wrong. So like, yeah, in the short term, like Anthony said, you're safe from whatever, but in the long term, you're like falling down the wrong path and you're going down a horrible route that, can be very easily avoided. And I don't think people realize that.
But you make such a valid point, both of you. Anthony, when you were talking about when we look for, when God, Christ is, I think all of us know on some level, but we seem to have to relearn this at different times. I'm not going to get exactly what we want and the way we want it necessarily, but maybe puts us in a path where it's healthier and better in the long run. But it's we want what we want when we want it, and no matter how mature we are in years. Speaking for myself, that often is the case. But to be wise enough to realize, that the Creator doesn't make mistakes, as they say.
No.
He'll give you what you need. Like, it won't be what you want right then, but you'll get what you need, and he'll always provide that for you. And I think like that is a bigger comfort than some kind of short-term want that, you ever play a video game and like you get the cheats on it, and every time that happens, like eventually you just start getting bored of the video game and like you're not enjoying it anymore. Is because
so that's the point that I'd go.
God knows that like the work and the effort that takes
That's a great metaphor
to put stuff in is what's going to allow you to enjoy and appreciate what you have. So like, just getting what you want immediately means like you don't care for it, and it's not going to matter as much for you.
In my opinion, that's just another test of patience for yourself. But he also tells us to be humble about it. That's another reason. If we were just given everything from the start, like the cheat codes from the start in terms of a video game, it would be too easy. Just like going through the game normally, and then you go through the difficulty of beating all the bosses and adventures, and then there'd be no point in the game to begin with.
Yep. I mean, it's funny because I think it's kind of cliche, but it's always the journey, not really the destination, that matters, and I think that kind of applies here.
Yeah, like you should set like. Actually, I don't know if it was you, Tony, or I think it was Adrian who I was having this conversation with, but we were talking about like being fulfilled in life and how it. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not someone who says that money doesn't matter. To me, it matters. But I also like I can hold that belief and also keep it in perspective that it doesn't in and of itself bring happiness. And actually, if you fall in love with it, that is a source of evil. But
I think without a purpose in a spiritual center, we're no matter how much money, you're always trying to fill a hole it's never full.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
But when we have purpose, no matter how humble it may seem in others' eyes, if it gives us the rhythm and the certainty of our direction in life, everything else kind of seems to fall in line. It doesn't mean we're not going to have dips in the road. Of course, we all know that. But yeah, it's all the cliches that you mentioned, Tony. They apply. They've been around forever for good reason. The joyous sweat.
Some of them are kind of dumb. Some of them don't make any sense.
Some of them are true.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll say this. In my opinion, most cliches are cliches because they're true, but there are some that are just really like we've had that conversation, and like I'm gonna get wound up ranting and raving. I don't want to do that. but like
Don't do that.
what I was getting at was that like if you look at rich people and especially their kids, they're if they're not outwardly miserable, just like you can just tell, you can feel it coming off of them. Like they're very unfulfilled people, and the reason that it seems like they can make millions and millions and millions, and it just seems like it's never enough, is because it really isn't enough for them. You know, they're missing something inside them, that they're looking for this fulfillment that comes from the outside world, and if you do that, you're always going to fail. You know,
looking for affirmation and anything outside of yourself is a recipe for frustration, I think. And it's funny, when I hitchhiked out to California when I was young, I got to Laguna Beach, was an art colony at the time. It was the most vibrant musical scene per capita I'd ever experienced. I couldn't believe it. The backup bands for so many famous people were living there, and famous people too. And not about the fame, but just the how hard it takes in artistic circles to get to that. You know, through music specifically, not top 40 music, real music. Anyway, but I noticed it was a place of paradox. You had a budding art community, and the austerity that often goes with the artist's life, in the midst of nouveau riche. It was kind of, I think it was the first time I was familiar with that term, nouveau riche, and what it meant. And I was kind of finding myself bewildered by the paradox that I've just attempted presenting here. And you have the artist on the one hand and this opulence on the other. And I'd never seen so many wealthy people in the same place at the same time. I came from a very blue-collar, humble background in Maryland. And I had issues with that, as you can imagine. And I remember a friend of mine said, well, Kevin, you know what the word nouveau riche means? I said, no, I really don't. Not very good at French. And I wasn't the most sophisticated person at the time. He said, well, it's new wealth. And these people had to work very hard to get it, but the opportunity would present itself. But unlike most, especially at that time, this is in the mid-70s, guys, unlike most households at the time where the mother figure was at home most of the time, still at that point, both parents were working, and they're making lots of money, but they weren't around their kids. As a result, they weren't there to guide the kids, to teach them manners, to teach them a lot of things that we learn, especially if we have to work early on an age, start getting a day job at a young age, as I did at 14. And so the kids are there, they go up without guides, without the guidance that they're desperate at that time, especially. But they also, the parents feel guilty, so they give them things. So the kids are spoiled and mannerless. Mm-hmm. And I think that as a result of success financially of this country, the last 30, 40 years, there's been quite a few. There are a lot of generations, a lot of examples of that from the last couple of generations, at the risk of generalizing.
Yeah, and I find it so important to read because, what kind of makes me think of this what kind of like the message I kind of received from reading is like the book Great Gatsby. You had Gatsby, which was the nouveau rich, and then you had the old people rich, or like the old rich who were like already generationally rich,
right,
who lived on the other side of the river, and both of them were miserable. Gatsby wasn't happy in all his bull crap, and the people over there weren't happy. They were all just miserable. The only one who was happy was the writer, the one who lived right next door, who became a friend of Gatsby.
Right. Yeah.
And he had none of the money that any of them had. And it was because he just enjoyed, what he had, and he was able to appreciate everything that was kind of received from him. And yeah, I think when Gatsby saw that, he realized everybody comes to me and wants my things, wants my stuff, but no one really sees me as, hi, buddy. No one really sees me besides this guy who doesn't want anything from me because he knows what he has and he's appreciative of it. And I think that's a very important message to understand and learn, is not just, with wealth and, money, but also just like spiritual wealth is to understand hey, don't ever get so focus on trying to get all of this so that you forget who you really are and forget to learn to enjoy yourself and be not really happy, but like be, satisfied and fulfilled with what you have. Always have that drive to get more, but also be happy with what you have.
Or
Yeah.
rather, have the drive to do more, to achieve more, not necessarily to
Get more.
acquire more. Yeah, and
Right.
and the end goal is not to acquire more things. The end goal, in my opinion, is what it will make of you to strive for like a lofty goal. Like there was this guy I was listening to who was talking about like planning for the future, and the way he put it was really good. He said, should make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child, and
Yeah.
your goals should be, they should feel unattainable. They should be so big, and and it it's not necessarily achieving it is not the end game. It's the reward lies in putting forth the effort and seeing what you're really capable of and what it will make of you. It's that's where your fulfillment, like your personal fulfillment, a big part of it comes from that. I wanted to highlight Takayashi's comment. She makes a really good point. She says that generational trauma creates a hole in the energy field that people are born with. The discomfort drives substance use to alleviate the pain from the hole instead of healing the hole itself. And
Right.
she adds to it. She says the hole is basically
The buffet
a
line.
buffet line for entities to attach and feed off of your energy. Substance use makes the hole bigger and attachments deeper.
Excellent point.
Yeah, it's
And-
a very, very succinct point right there.
And
Takayashi.
everything in the universe feeds on itself like energy, so it's, but excellent point.
Yeah. I think, we all feed on energy, but these creatures, these paranormal cryptids, these spirits, that's all they are. They don't make anything. They don't create energy. They don't
Yeah, it's
feed
parasitic,
each
which is-
other. Yeah, they just take your energy. So like that's why it's important to be able to protect yourselves from them.
Yeah, in a way, they're like vampires themselves. It's vampiric. What the work that we've done on the show, like pertaining to like vampires and what they are and what it is. It's really shifted my opinion on like what that term really means, because I think that it's the term vampires that can apply to like pretty much any malevolent entity, because that they want to drain, if not your blood, then your life force. They want to drain your energy and give nothing back.
Yeah, I think we've kind of been too focused on the Hollywood or even just like the book version
The
of
stereotypes.
the stereotypes of what a vampire is. But when at the end of the day, it's that they gain energy and substance from you in some way, and they take it. They don't.
Through our
like,
attention.
Yeah,
Attention
through
is
their
everything.
attention. They could either do it through blood, like some of these beasts do, or through our energy. But the point is that they're draining you dry in one way or another. And I think that's the main focus of a lot of these creatures.
Whether we're looking at Buddhist or Hindu doctrines or Carlos Castaneda, when they talk about the concept of attention, it's amazing how pervasive that is in different belief systems. And because whatever we give energy to, we give life to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was having a conversation with Wolf the other day, and as you can imagine, a lot of our conversations are, for me, very educational, and it's really kind of like it's really opened my expanded my horizons. That's what I'm looking for, and we were talking about consciousness and the nature, like the nature of consciousness and energy and what it is. And I think we were talking about tulpas and egregores.
Mhm.
And
What
we were on the way
forms?
home, and he pointed to a stop sign, and he was like, I don't really get into this too much, because a lot of people they're not ready for it. It sounds crazy, but he was like, if enough people focused enough energy all at once on that stop sign, that they would imbue it with a consciousness, and in a way, it would become a living being. And I like that's something that I actually had believed from the time I was a child. I believe things. I would think things like that. They were just in my head. I don't know where they came from. They were just there. I believed that if I focus my mind on something long enough, that I could do something to it without touching it. That I could manipulate it. And no one has ever like reiterated that. Up until up until I met Wolf, and we would have conversations about stuff like this. But it's really interesting, like the nature of consciousness and how we can create life by reproducing, but we can also create it by focusing our energy. I mean, it's obviously not something that you can just, a group of people can get together and do willy-nilly. But the point is, like, if consciousness is just like focused energy, then why can't you imbue like an inanimate object with a consciousness by focusing enough energy on it?
Is it not written that ye are gods and children of the Most High?
There you go.
We have so much more in us that we've been dumbed down, and we talk about this, it's talked about on this show a lot, and it's so true. We have been dumbed down for so long, but there's I believe that every few generations, a generation comes up and coincides with a time in the world where there's a collective break. There's a break from the tradition. Woodstock was such a time. And it wasn't just about the Woodstock and the music. It was what was going on in Vietnam. It was about racial equality. So many things that we still have a long way to go on. But there were a lot of strides were made because I was there. You look at that beard. I can tell you I was there. And I think we're at such a time now. This year, I think, is going to be a huge year for disclosure, gradations of disclosure. Maybe not, ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone. Maybe nothing that dramatic and that sweeping, but certainly it's like a page turning one after the other, And I mean, not just about, what people refer to as UFOs, UAPs, but cryptids, all of the, all of the above,
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. I feel it, and its evidence is everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah, we're definitely living in the time of, I think Art Bell used to call it the quickening. Where
That's a great word. I use that a lot. I love that word.
Accelerating. Yeah.
It's awakening or the awakening, great awakening. One of the two.
Yeah.
And it's funny how when you're speaking of quickening, when we're around certain people, we are quickened. Do you remember the first time you're on a football field or a basketball court and you felt with better players, older players if you were when you were young and you felt pulled up? Or maybe if you play an instrument, if you're in a situation, which is what I've done most of my life, and you walk on the stage and you start playing, all of a sudden you're elevated or quickened. And then that concept, that existential, metaphysical, paranormal concept, as it were, or more metaphysical and paranormal, is existent in everyone and everything potentially, because of the nature of our own existence and the divine heritage which we reflect, where we come from and return to.
Yeah, I mean, we're like
amazing.
Like I remember whenever Jim Carrey, like whenever he first started down his whole like kind of rabbit hole of consciousness and I'm not me, there is no Jim Carrey, all that, now don't get me wrong, he's a celebrity, so he probably is just also crazy, but crazy.
He's a profound guy too.
Doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah. Crazy doesn't mean wrong.
No, he's a deep cat.
I just didn't understand what he was getting at. Like the first time I heard that, and he was being interviewed, and he was like, "I don't exist. There is no me. That there is no Jim Carrey." I thought, this guy's on drugs or something. Or these celebrities and they're weird, whatever. Maybe he hasn't had his adrenochrome for today. Whatever. But now I get it, because in reality, like I am not Anthony. Anthony is my name. Like I'm not a physical person. This is a vessel. Like
right, a vehicle.
I'm piloting it.
A vehicle.
and even the soul that is me, that identifies with the name Anthony. I believe that it goes even deeper than that. That even that is not truly me. That even that is just as our guest Sean Underfire, who might be in the chat, says that is a fractal of my higher self.
Right.
That,
Exactly.
that like
Perfectly put.
yeah, it's like a projection, just like an aspect of whoever I really truly am, which I don't know what that is, but that's okay. I have enough on my plate
Well,
in this life, and enough that I need to learn, in the here and now. And if patience is required, then so be it. Whatever the Lord wills, however much patience is in His will that I have to have, then so be it.
if we're a reflection of the infinite, then certainly to try and put that in a finite construct is challenging at best. We have language, we have the need to express and exchange ideas with one another, but as they say in China, the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Those that know it do not speak it. Those that speak it do not know it. Because how do we put the infinite in a finite? We can't. We can hint at it, get close to it.
We can have an idea of it, but we can't actually word it ourselves.
Right.
And like the best way to look at it is like a kaleidoscope, and you're able to, put it up to your eye and see the kaleidoscope, but not realize like all of that is in itself its own little kaleidoscope, and what those little tiny pieces come together to form one circle, but really all those little tiny pieces are its own consciousness, and that's all one thing. And it's very kind of out there and kind of hard to understand for people.
Do you remember when I was on the show and I talked about living with the medium, that time I had with her?
I do. I believe so. I remember.
Aside from the jaw-dropping phenomenon I saw every night when I was living with her, from transfiguration, watching her face molecularly rearrange itself until she looked completely like another person. Aside from all the circus stuff, at one point she said to me, everything can be reduced to energy and vibration. And everything, all form, all this matter, we solidify it for the sake of going through playing this drama. The creator wants us to play this, but everything really is about energy and vibration. And that was a lot for me to process at that time. I was just barely out of my teens. And another thing she said was, I did this after you shared that prescient dream, but you're not going to grow spiritually just watching phenomena every night. You have to work at spirituality the way you do the other pursuits in your life, guitar, chess, whatever, kung fu. You have to work at it. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm not Mother Teresa. I don't read to the blind. How do I do that? Just be a good person all the time. Learn to meditate, think of God first and how you could be a service to the world. And everything else comes after that. And from a woman who was highly touted at that time, who retired from a life because she didn't want to have her gift used for financial purposes, it was a profound realization for me. Although I felt really, if I'm being honest, it was more reminding me of something I had known but forgotten than a brand new concept, as it were. And I think everyone feels that to some or lesser or greater degree, but this gets into my own personal views of reincarnation, which may or may not conflict with other people's. I'm not peddling nothing here. I'm just sharing.
My mother,
no, we're not afraid of hearing what you believe.
Yeah, I mean, my mother is a Buddhist, so I mean, I believe heavily in reincarnation, and I believe past lives and everything of the sort.
That was a tough one for me, Tony. When I was living with her, I was coming from a Catholic background. My mom was raised by Irish nuns in an orphanage, man. And my dad was a half-breed native who grew up in the res, completely different, But reincarnation, everything else, I kind of took to you like a duck to water, as cliche as it sounds. And metaphysically speaking, the things that we were just skirting the surface of, and I was sharing briefly. Living with her was she was so much more advanced than I was at the time, and I recognized immediately she was a teacher in addition to a girlfriend. But the reincarnation was a tough one for me to get my head around. Then all of a sudden, it just seems so obvious. We keep coming back until we get it right. And by getting it right, until we become so spiritually evolved that we no longer need to come through these lessons. The ego has finally submitted, finally we finally evolved.
I mean, the energy just gets recycled until it becomes pure. The
Yeah.
same thing you do in all forms.
Which explains why we have an inclination for certain kinds of foods, the way we like our sex, all the things that seem that, well, I don't like that, or I like that,
Mhm.
and everyone knows that, everyone's experienced that to some degree or another.
I look at reincarnation the same way that you shape metal. When
I
you're
was just about
shaping
to say,
metal,
it says in the scriptures, God.
That's a good analogy.
you put it in heat and you beat it and you get
Yeah.
all of the impurities out. And then once you do that, you fold it and put it back in there until you can shape it into the what you really what you desire. And once you're able to do that, it becomes perfect.
Well, the old adage of the creator, taking us into each of us individually, and like a blacksmith, like a cosmic blacksmith, forming us, putting us in the fire, shaping us, and all these experiences, especially the ones that hurt.
Mhm.
The ones that I don't want to see my brother-in-law Thanksgiving. I can't go through that again.
Yeah.
But whatever it is,
Well,
because
Christ,
whatever it is, if it's
Hey,
uncomfortable.
listen, guys. Hey, are y'all there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
Can y'all
do.
hear me?
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know who.
brother.
Okay, I don't know who Dragon Gamer is or whatever, but I think that's a troll. Y'all need to get him out of there.
I'm not looking at it.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't-
Yeah. I saw that comment. Well, I see it now.
Yeah, he's saying,
I
wait,
got
did you guys say reincarnation was bad? No, we didn't say that.
No,
you
we didn't say
piece
that.
of-
Anyway, Josh,
Stupid
good to
ass.
have you here, man.
Block that guy. Listen, I'm in the middle of doing something. Block that guy. Kick him out of there. I don't ever want him back. Get him out of there. I gotta go.
Yeah, he's gone.
Meanwhile, back at the
double-
ranch.
Oh, well, that was quick.
Hey, Dick Richard, what's happening, bro?
What's up,
Hey.
buddy? How are you guys?
How are you doing
Good to
tonight,
see you.
man?
So,
You're late.
Excellent. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I
got
had
a
to help
beard,
somebody move.
So much
Dick,
for appearances.
this issue of you being late will not be tolerated for much longer, man. You might
I
lose.
can't have my
Oh,
cold reader and my mustachio be
I
taken
I
care of
know.
like this.
I know. I'm sorry for letting you guys down tonight.
Ah,
I had to save a friend of mine. She was moving this evening and apparently didn't have anybody to help her.
oh my God.
So
Really?
another friend, yeah.
we
come
all
by
know
and
our
was like,
friends exist in two forms: the one that you call for work, and the ones that don't pick up the phone and say, "Well, you know what? I got something going on here. I'd love to help you, but
Yep.
good for you for being that guy."
Well, hey, if not me, then who?
You know what? Good for you, bro.
Well, it's kind of expected since he's Canadian. Like, they're all nice and stuff.
We used to be. Everybody got real bitter the last 6 years, but that's another story
Can't
for
even blame
another
them.
day.
I
Ah,
shouldn't even blame them.
I wonder why.
I wonder why too.
Mystery of time and space.
That's it, right? Mystery of the nanoparticle.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway, so what's happening tonight, fellas?
Oh, we were just having a little discussion about like
Yeah.
how
All
like,
kinds of
despite
stuff.
getting older,
Reincarnation, spirituality.
Nice.
I would like to hear your take on this. Andreas had a pretty good question at the beginning of the show about what do you think? Are you able to escape a spirit or a cryptid or a creature, and just by moving to a different place, not
no.
native to just like America, but like even just moving to like Australia, do you think that thing can follow you?
Boy, I missed that
Haven't we
part.
heard-
I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
I think we've heard stories about that, haven't we? Where
Yeah,
these
I mean,
things
I
will
just-
follow them halfway across the world, right?
I think that the answer is there's no absolute, because I think these critters are as distinct almost as people are, whether they have a hive mentality or not. We've all heard stories or read stories of a person who fled, an area or one person I just was looking at on a show who moved 6 times in 50 years. And every time the cryptid that he shot accidentally as a kid, because he thought it was just a critter killing his hens or something. So he heard the word "don't" as he was pulling the trigger, "shoot me." And from then on, the thing had a grudge and would chase him all over the country, from Iowa to freaking Georgia.
well,
And then and Josh, I know Josh said something about a guy that was on vacation back in upstate New York and had a cryptic experience, and then he's back at home in Alabama or wherever, and the next day on his return, he was convinced it was the same one. But what are the chances of a dogman being there? Before before any of that all happened. So I think there's a strong case to be made for that to answer that guy's question, but I don't think it's the absolute truth. What about you? What do you guys think?
Well, Anthony and me kind of share, I think, a similar belief in that it's, possible, they can do it,
Yeah.
but there are certainly laws in place
Yeah.
that these
Yeah.
cryptids and creatures don't have to adhere to. And I don't think really distance and time really matter to
Right.
to us the same way it does to them. So like they can definitely go and just go over to you because no matter how far you go, they've locked onto your, Takayasha said here, they lock onto your aura or your
Your
energy.
existential imprint,
Exactly. And they're able to just follow that. So like distance and time doesn't matter. And the only thing that might be able to really stop them is whatever laws, unseen, laws that they have to follow. And
Much to that point, I think some of these principalities are bound to an area.
Exactly. Yeah,
And,
Anthony said
and
that.
we're,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like elementals and
know-
nature spirits.
Exactly, Anthony. But how do we know it's not his buddy showing up? How do we know he didn't call his buddy halfway across the country and be like, hey, this guy's here.
I
show
got
us something like
I
me,
got some
would you?
problems with him, so you got to go
Right?
step up.
You make a
Yeah.
good point. In Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi, when he's visited by his own guru, visits him in mere tears in his hotel room after passing over, he talks about the different zones, as it were, that different entities have to adhere to according to their vibratory frequency. He doesn't use the word good and evil so much as he does, but he does at times. His evil entities have to reside here. So there are certain laws, certain rules. I've seen things on the internet, like everyone else here, that contradict that. But I believe there's a lot to that, which basically echoes what you were just saying.
Yeah, I think like the laws over here, they can be broken and they can be kind of unfollowed, but I believe there are punishments for them. And sometimes they're just like, yeah, I'll take that if it means, because these things are very petty and they hold grudges like crazy. So like, I think some of them might just decide like, oh, I'll take the hit if it means I can hurt this dude or do whatever, or just continue to harass whoever.
Or they have some sort of
going back to what you said, Dick, about like, hey, how do you know if it's the same one or if it's not one of his buddies? That is actually a very good point, because that illustrates why these other spiritual practices outside of Christ, that they leave holes in your armor. Like you don't know what it is. So whatever ritual or practice worked for this one entity is not necessarily going to cover you for this other one. But Christ covers you from all of it. So
right,
whether like if you are in Christ, you have the luxury of not having to worry about whether this thing that's is the same thing that you saw across the country and followed you, or if it's something else, because you can rebuke it either way. It's like, what does it matter?
Faith is the armor.
Whether you're that same thing or whether you're its friend, get away from me in Jesus Christ's name. I rebuke you. It's done. You're gone. That's it.
Do you guys remember the scene in Fright Night?
I never saw the original movie.
Yeah, the original was excellent. The second was okay, but the first one was really, Chris Sarandon was just perfect as the vampire. And but at one point, as Roddy McDowell's character is mounting the stairs of the crucifix, and for those who uninitiated who have not seen it, it centers around a show about a kid who discovers the next door neighbor is a vampire, but the kid also watches a show, where the character is the vampire hunter, the vampire killer. Anyway, as life is imitating art, it turns out that he appeals to this guy to help him with the vampire, the guy being the host of the show, which is a make-believe thing, supposedly. But so he brings him, the guy comes on to the fold. So actually, I really do know about vampires. The show is supposed to be entertainment. But so he enlists him to help him with the vampire. And this climactic scene on the steps, as Roddy McDowell is holding this crucifix, the vampire walks up, and knowing McDowell's character is low on it really doesn't always believe what he says. He grabs the crucifix with his hand and it bursts into flame, and he says, "You got to have faith for that to work on me."
Oh yeah, you know what? They kept that scene in the one that
And
I
the
saw
remake.
in the remake with Colin Farrell.
You know what? That's
He was like, "Do you have faith?" and just like swipes it aside.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's
and
something to be said for that.
which is echoed in scripture because whenever it says that, yeah, have we not cast out devils in your name? And Christ is like, get away from me, I never knew you. It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's even in the new Dracula movie when he goes to the castle.
I haven't
John-
seen that yet.
Well, there's a certain scene where he goes to the
Don't
castle.
ruin it. I'm kidding.
He like finds a crucifix because I think someone gave it to him. And he's like, "Oh, do you believe?" And he's like, "No." So he just kind of quickly throws it into the fire, and he's like, "Ugh." But like it, without that belief, it does. What does it matter? You're just
Right.
not protecting yourself directly.
Well, it's like in Bram Stoker's Dracula when they open up Keanu Reeves' chest and they see that cross that the gypsy gave him, and I guess he doesn't
Right.
have faith either. And she does that thing, and then she does some magic, and the thing just melts on his
It
chest.
melts.
and
Yeah.
disappears. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting.
Well, it's
Yeah,
like
and I think that I
Sorry,
think
go on,
that
Nathan.
that you can imbue like certain like the crucifix itself, like it yeah, if you just take it at face value, take it at what it is, it's yeah, it's just like physically, it's just like a piece of wood or a piece of resin,
Totem.
it's like that. But what
Imbued with faith and zeal, though. And
yeah,
power.
and that is I believe that is an actual, it's not just in your mind, that is a physical real thing. Like over the weekend, I was I visited my grandmother, and she's 96 years old, and she's still kicking.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
she's been
That's so
like,
cool.
and she's been a just staunch like Christian devout Catholic like her whole life. And she was talking to me about how she prays for me every day, and she was talking about Christ, and she had these crucifixes on her walls, and she was pointing to them, and she was like, she was really speaking with conviction as much as she could. She can't speak real well at 96, but she, when the spirit moves her, she'll act, and she felt very strongly, and she was pointing to her crosses, and she was like, "Mijo, always pray to Christ. Every day I pray for you, and I touch these crosses, and I pray and I think of you every single day."
Wow.
And as I was looking at those crosses, I could just tell. I could feel
You can feel the
this
energy.
energy coming off of those crosses on her wall, specifically. Like that she really has.
Beautiful
She
thing.
really has imbued those with that white light, with that faith, like very, very strong. Like you can, if you just stand by them, you can just feel that kind of white light energy emanating off of them.
Well, it's like what we talked about earlier, Kevin, about how you can, imbue consciousness into the things, is because we're a spark of God. So we have a fraction of that ability. But faith, I think, directly allows you to imbue like holiness and his will into stuff, and imbue it way stronger than anything we can do on our own. That's why,
yeah. I
if we're-
believe that too.
like, if we want to give like this bottle here a bunch of faith, it would have to be like everyone in the house and all of you guys thinking about giving that faith, that bottle consciousness. While even though it's more powerful with other people, you can still imbue stuff with by believing in Christ and imbuing it with that white light and giving it strength, because like doing it through him is 10 times stronger than trying to do it by yourself and just relying on
Right.
this.
When two or more are gathered in my name,
Yep.
there I am in the
Like-
midst of them.
It's like when Christ said that if you do it in belief of my name, that it will happen.
Yeah, right.
I'm paraphrasing, but
You don't even need much. Jesus says, if you have enough faith as small as a mustard seed, that's more than
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it really puts
That's
it
one of my
in
favorite quotes that you
perspective.
just said. Yeah,
Yeah,
both of you.
faith moves mountains, right? Literally.
Absolutely, man. God, I'm
and
living-
Dimensional Walker has a really interesting comment here. It says faith operates at a frequency.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
very
right.
much true. Everything does.
vibration.
Hmm. Like your thoughts are not, they're not just things. They're not chemical reactions that just take place in your mind. They are vibrations that emanate from your brain and go out into the physical world, which is why there are people out there who legitimately can read people's minds. Like, what do you think that comes from? You know, you're basically like transmitting a signal like a radio at a certain frequency, and in the same way that if you want to listen to your favorite station on a radio,
You got to tune to it.
yeah, you synchronize your radio to that frequency, and you hear it. Same thing.
It's like how certain people just give off that amazing vibration and that amazing positive attitude, and you just feel good being around them, and they're
Right.
just yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
And
feel it
available.
right away.
Definitely.
Can I say
Hi,
hello,
Cynthia.
gentlemen?
Yeah. Hey,
I
Vivian.
know.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
I believe you had something you want to share about this topic.
Yeah,
I
don't keep
was-
us in suspense.
I have too many things to talk about.
Well, I like to hear that.
Whatever you'd like to hear. I, like many other people who are born with gifts of sight, everyone has a gift. Not everyone knows what their gift is, and I
Right.
question mine to this day. But there are things that we're not supposed to know because our tiny little mind can't absorb it. We couldn't take it, you know.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
I've seen things since I was little, and it's you guys. When I popped in, you guys were talking about reincarnation.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say on that, just because, like Wolf, I'm a little bit older, so the more you read, right? My mom always told me that reading is knowledge and knowledge is power.
Yeah.
We get that quote. I don't know where from, but I love it.
Well, Jesus says, we die
The
for
lack of knowledge is why you
lack
die.
of knowledge. Yeah.
Black. Yeah, my mom said when my mom passed away, she had. Sorry, this is really tough to talk about, but
It's okay.
Yeah.
You take your time.
thank you, mijo. Since I first heard Wolf on the other channel that he used to come on a lot, and I started listening to it because I was born at night. But not only was I born at night, I come from a line of Rh negative blood. So
What time were you born at, if I may ask?
11:27.
I was born at
And
1:20, a couple hours later.
My
134.
you guys were what? I'm sorry.
I was born a couple hours later than you, 1:20 in the morning.
Oh wow.
134. Yeah, 134.
Who's that saying that? I'm sorry, I can't see.
It's Dick, Cynthia.
Hello, Dick.
How are you, sweetheart?
I'm okay. Thank
Good.
you for asking. Like I said, when I first heard Wolf, I was just smitten by his ability to speak and his eloquency in speaking that I was, taken back a little. I was like, okay, this he's smart. I know this guy reads. He knows his history. He knows a lot of subjects. He
He's very
studied he studied world religions. That's something that I've loved. I had too many things. I have ADD, so my attention span is very short. If I see something across the room and it's shiny, I'm looking at it, and then I'm concentrating on that really hard. And I have 20 other tabs up in my brain going at the same time. And it's really hard to focus. So I have a hard time talking. So I never like to get up in front of the class and talk just because I would so shy. I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to be up here. He's looking at me. And then I thought, screw it. Because my dad always said, it doesn't matter if somebody likes you or not, because not everybody's going to like you, and you're not going to like everybody either. And I've always had that personality where the moment I see you, I was taught to look a person in their eyes.
Right.
Okay, because to me, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yep.
I see you and you're lying to me, I immediately can see that you're lying to me. And it's a gift. And I hate it because it's a curse and a gift at the same time. But I'm like, ah. And then I'm thinking in the back of my mind, oh God.
Do you know how to tell? Do you know how to tell if somebody's lying to you, Cynthia?
Easily.
Yeah, they look down and to the left.
Patterns. Yeah.
They look down and to
I keep
either
eye
down.
contact.
Yeah.
I keep direct eye contact with you at all times because I want you to see what I'm saying. First of all, I don't like to talk shit, which means I'm not guessing. I'm not thinking I heard. I'm not, oh, he said, she said, they said. I want to freaking read what the hell I'm reading and know that this is 100% truth because I like facts. Don't come with me with stupid bullshit. I don't sugarcoat shit. I'm not fucking Willy Wonka. But I just don't sugarcoat anything. And my mom used to tell me because my mom, I got it from my mom and my dad. My mom was the most hilarious person, but she was just genuine, like a kind, loving, giving person that everybody loved. The moment you met her, you just loved her because she was just like, she exuded love from every pore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Her being was just light. It was bright. And she's come to me a few times in my dreams, but those were the moments where I was literally dying. You know, when I was born, I was ripped from my mom's womb because I was dead and my mom was dying and they packed her in ice because she has Rh negative blood. And you have to have the moment you find out you're pregnant, now you have to find out if you're Rh negative. You have to find out if you're pregnant, right? Excuse me, sorry. Or your body will automatically abort the fetus.
Wow.
It fights with the blood if it's a certain type of blood. It's weird. And what was interesting to me is that, like I was saying, since I've been a child, I've seen things. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and look in the hallway of my room because we had my mom and my dad. My dad helped build my childhood home. And I have a freaking cool artifact from there that I really have to get looked at. And I've been slacking because I don't know, something says I need to find out what it is, you know, where it's from. But my dad found it and it has a literal mark because he was building the foundation and his pickaxe hit it. And he said, he was like, whoa, what did I just hit? And it has the mark from the pickaxe on it. And it looks kind of like a big arrowhead, but it's not. It's not like serrated edges. Like it's not sharp. It's more, and it has the handle. It looks like you had rope around it and tie it to something, you know, like an axe or something.
Mhm.
It's really cool. I have to share that with the show. It's really
where-
cool.
Where did your dad find it?
In my childhood home, which is called a little town in Arizona, it's called Guadalupe. And it's like a little reservation, and they're native. They're Yaqui native
Yaquis.
Hispanic mix. It's just all family, and it's coming from someone that didn't come from there. It felt weird because we were the outsiders.
Yeah.
They didn't know us. We're suspicious, you know. Who are you? Where you come from? But you get to know them, and like they're all like, I have family that is like my family. Like a guy I used to date, and his sister's my best friend. And his other sister, I know them all. I loved his mother. Oh, all of our parents are passing because we're older. You know,
Yeah.
I'm Gen X. So, but I know a few people that are blessed that are older than me that still have their parents. I'm like, God, what a blessing.
Yeah.
But since I was like about 4, that I could remember, 4 or 5, probably a little younger. I just don't remember a lot of things, but some things I remember. And I did ask my mom, and they were true. But I used to see a demon in the hallway. It would wake me up because I would feel it like staring off freaking hot patch in the back of my head. It's weird. And energy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to.
How old were you at the
When I
time?
was
Sorry.
like,
Pardon me,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to
Pardon
ask,
me?
how old were you roughly when that was happening?
About,
5 or
I
something?
think about 4.
Wow.
Yeah. I could be younger because I remember things when I was 2.
That's
But the
amazing.
thing, yeah. But like I said, I was born deceased. And
Right. Well,
you know,
that's
Huge implication to why you are also experiencing as much as you're doing, because you were back out
yes.
spiritual, and then you come back into this false reality, and you have a better connection to the spiritual, and you can see it better.
Well, I have one foot
Yep.
here and one foot there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I see things, and it is freaking interdimensional. They disappear, they come, they
Yep.
go.
yeah.
I never see freaking feet
Wow.
The thing is, they're probably attracted to you because of your blood type, and also you're in that state of being. So
because I can see them.
you have
It
several
is
factors
the
behind you.
attract. They do see that they see. You see. I saw this. Excuse my language. This fucker crouching in the corner of my dining room, staring at me, and I'm a little girl. And I woke up and I'm looking at this shit, and I'm like, I was so innocent though, and I was raised like with very high standards and morals. You know, you be a decent human being. I don't give a shit if you're freaking skinny, tall, black, white, Asian, freaking. I do care if you're purple, but but I'd be like, wow, that's pretty cool. Why?
Do you
But
think you were ever like abducted or anything during your youth? You said you have like points where you have completely no memory.
yeah, I have a lot of missing time.
You should look into hypnotic regressions. I've heard some pretty impressive stuff that people go through. It kind of fills in the gaps of stuff that
That freaks me out.
I
See,
recommend. With
that
Tom,
really.
sometimes the stuff
I
people
would
I
be
suggest
helpful
never
because
doing that.
there might be a lot of like subconscious memories that you know
Right.
I mean, inside of all of our minds, there are things that we're not consciously aware of, but they do have an effect on
Yeah.
Oh my
on how
god.
we think, on how we speak, and
lot of
you know, like
repressed.
if we want to change things, sometimes we got to look inwardly and find what that is. You know, just kind of dig it out.
That's a good point.
That's what
If you don't know the hypnotist, though, man, that guy could run a friggin' train on your mind, man. That guy could unlock.
Yeah,
and put
that's why
stuff
I'm
and
like,
implants
You do.
I'm
I'm
like,
just saying. I'm just
Yeah,
not
there are
trying to
some
hurt you, but
that
I'm just
I'd be
saying.
careful with. They're not always good souls and good people. So
right.
find one that follows Christ and do a prayer before and after, and that will help a whole bunch. Because there's been some stuff I've listened to that's pretty wacky, like probably being
I'm like,
influenced.
I just can't. You know why? Because I fucked with an Ouija board when I was a teen.
Oh,
And I should have
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
known
yeah.
better. I should have known better because the story that was told to me, I was like, yeah, right.
oh no.
Sure. Uh-huh. I fucking believe you. Uh-huh. Well, I literally made a freaking board just out of a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You write it out, and I used a quarter as a planchette. Wrong thing to do.
Well, it makes you feel any better. I did that once, and the entity said in my mind, "Oh, you don't even need to do that."
Under fire, you too?
When several years ago, I did it once. Let's say I'm able to be tuned in enough that the stuff pretty much said, "I don't need that." It's one of the reasons why I put the target
You
on my
guys
back.
remember this
Yeah.
scene? You remember the character Jack Nicholson played in The Shining?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you don't have to be born with an unusual background as just young ladies. I think
They
people
wanted
that
the son.
very sensitive people, and they may not display the outward traits. They may not be a really great writer or a great musician or great whatever. Just sensitivity takes a lot of forms in terms of personality, doesn't it? I mean, we're all examples of that to a degree.
But we're all so different.
His character, though, was very vulnerable to the very forces that we're talking about, the very concept we're talking about.
The son had the shining.
Yeah, yeah. And you remember the Scatman Carruthers, the character he played, and my grandma used to call it the shine,
Yes.
the shine. You're
Yeah,
shining.
the gift.
Yeah, and the spirits would appear to him specifically to talk to him. I mean, like that bathroom scene.
Oh,
yeah, that sticks with
Now,
me.
did you read the book though?
And at 12, I couldn't stop
No, I
reading it. Are you kidding me?
That book was amazing.
Richard, what did you say? You wanted to say something.
Oh, I don't know. I say all kinds of dumb things. What was I saying?
You do.
So good. I just came off for one thing, and then I'll probably have to shoot off here. But it was when your very first comments you made, Nevia's Angel. And I think what it is everyone's kind of a mosaic in the creation. Every single being has a purpose, kind of like
a gift.
Well, like a gift, and I was like, I hate to use it to domainly be the right term, but it's like a place within the structure of reality. That's what they're meant for. That's thrive. A purpose. It's probably the best term to put it. A purpose, right?
Right.
That's the fulfilling thing. What do most men look for in their lives? A purpose.
Right. That's what we were talking. Were you on when we were talking about that a while ago, buddy?
No,
I don't know for sure.
Imagine
that's really what we got here was by saying purpose is everything.
Now, let me
It's everything between living and just
let me jump in. As a woman, from my perspective, now imagine being a woman and not having children.
Oh yeah.
Not being able to come to terms because you didn't know you were RH negative. So that those children don't make it past a few weeks. You don't go into 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th month. You don't get that blessing.
I don't want to alarm you and other people listening to this. Sometimes with the research I've done, and someone again, James Barley, has also done a whole bunch of research to this. There's some concern about stuff without still terms coming short and child not coming through. These entities, so the evil entities and powers, and then these alien entities, and they're different. As far as I'm concerned, they're not the same thing. But the aliens, a lot of these evil aliens seem to be serving these evil entities, and they're terrified of them and forced to serve. But sometimes what they do is I'm very careful about this because I'm not saying they did this to you, Neva. This is why maybe a post-hypnotic progression might help you figure out tune on your situation. It's not always the case, but they will come into someone, they have a certain genetic match, and they will, if that person is pregnant, they will try to hybridize the baby, and then they will pretty much take the baby out. So it makes it look like stillbirth failure, right? Of
I'm aware.
Underground bases. Crafts, and they're pretty much.
So they take them.
Oh yeah, they'll hybridize.
They fucking take your babies.
Yeah, they raise them on the crafts. So people think that.
Hey, Nevaeh, just real quick, if I could just add, if we could chill out with the F words.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's not me.
Please, Sean, continue.
Hey, no, all good.
Thank you for checking me.
Yeah, no worries. No, it's very alarming. There's one I listened to recently of someone who was taken by these mantids, pretty much, and it was shown underneath Earth and also in a spaceship orbiting Earth, and there's a massive, thousands of them lined up, and they're these hybrids. The disturbing thing is they started this several decades ago, and they've said they've now completed it, and now
you're freaking me out. Now you're freaking me out.
Yeah,
because
I know what you're talking about, Sean. I see.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, you know.
I do.
The thing is too
disturbing is what?
Yeah.
They live as a documentary, man. If you get that sign in glasses,
Oh, yeah.
they're literally
Totally.
everywhere. They're literally everywhere. They're over everybody's house. They're over all the bigs, like by hundreds and thousands of them everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing is, like Josh's episode recently, I think it was 2 episodes, 2 or 3, when that person saw the werewolf police officer, like I think in South America, in the dream.
Brazil.
She went to the second phase before she wake up. She was probably at 4th density. She saw her husband. Her husband was like a kitsune. He's like a Japanese guy. He's a kitsune. That also was real.
Ooh.
So there's a bunch of us sitting right here in this world who are not
kitsune?
flesh. We're
Kitsune.
different entities in a human body.
I know what a kitsune is.
Yeah. So this human hybridization thing has been, and it's been going on way before we can think of. Really long. So the God and Adam and Eve story, from my opinion, research, it's the Anunnaki, and either humanity existed before and they hybridized them, or humanity was like a hominid and they made humanity as it is now. But in their own DNA, the Anunnaki have Draco, reptilian, a bunch of other races' DNA. There's experiences people have had. One really important experience is this lady had a near-death experience. She saw us apparently like a council, a bunch of humans in like this kind of Greco-like land. She came back. She later had a vision where they like someone came up and pulled like the reality off of them. They're all like humanoid lion like people. So the scale of like hybridization in the human DNA by its nature has been going on for a very long time. What's going on right now though is you got these evil alien entities, because this false cube matrix is beginning to collapse. They're trying to see if they can imprison as many souls as they can into another reality.
Soul harvesters.
Yeah. So they're trying to put these hybrids into control. That's why you see this insanity that's going on right now, particularly.
So I think of it as evil.
Oh, they're evil groups. Yeah, exactly. And they're trying to hold the
It's
soul.
just evil, pure evil.
Out of control.
Yeah, because they're trying to hold that. 'Cause that's their energy source, right? Because they're evil, they're spiritually dead beings, right?
Yeah.
There's good beings coming in and helping out, and that's why some of these hybrids are not evil, and there's hybridization to all of mankind. Everyone has junk DNA, and that comes from all these different entities and races. Everyone has it.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my ethnicity is bizarre.
Sean, the
Yeah.
X-Files was pretty much soft disclosure as far as that's concerned. You know?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, in a way, yeah,
We're
right.
laughing about it then, but not so laughing so hard now.
Yeah,
You gotta
and
tell us, right?
I try not to talk about it because it's scary and depressing.
Well, I have the hope in this. Now, when I came to God, Christ, and Holy Spirit, I was praying because pretty much if anyone doesn't pay attention, there's an agenda against us white people. They put it point blank blank. They're trying to destroy our cultures and societies right now. Yeah, and so I prayed to God about it, and I heard just one word, and it's Revelations. And this was not like a mind speak or anything I've ever had. Now, there's things Revelations I strongly question because it kind of contradicts what Jesus teaches, but the things that I believe are true, I do think are reaching that end point. And once Taki comes on with her episode series, I've been talking to her a whole bunch. There's a bunch of parallel realities, and they're all like merging together because it's kind of coming to an end point. And things are going to kind of be set right, is what I believe, and then things are going to go back. But these entities are panicking and doing everything they can to try either destroy the system, like cause a nuclear war, kill as many people as they can for sacrifices, things like that.
Right.
All this insanity is some of it's planned, some of it's them just panicking because they know they're done for, and the hammer's going to come down, and they're done, right? They're going to face justice.
Yeah, just reacting.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, they're freaking out, and that's why it's insanity. If you're in control, you don't literally try to destroy everything, right? But if you're in control,
You'll have nothing left to control.
Yeah, you're evil, spiteful entity. You're going to just
Right.
go temper tantrum. I've tried to rebuke some of these entities out of people once. I met online someone who was definitely possessed by something.
That's creepy.
Yeah, and you'll definitely notice a correlating rise between the amount of people who are, aware and are waking up, and also how crazy the world is being. Like the more crazy the world is being, the more people are waking up. So it's like they're trying to
You want
fight
to talk
the fact
about
that people
woke?
are waking up by trying to make things, ramping things up.
You want to talk about woke? Well, I was raised in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
So now basically I look at all religions, they're all cults. All of them. Jesus didn't say to worship him. Who did he say to worship? Who did he tell us to worship?
His father.
Mhm.
His father.
Yeah, you worship God through Christ.
Yeah.
You worship God and you
I
go through
definitely,
Christ. Yes,
I
that
definitely
is.
believe there's a hijacking with the Council of Nicaea onwards.
But not everybody believes the same thing.
Scofield Bible is really bad, but I think there was a hijacking because again, you had the money lenders, using that term, and then you had the Roman state, and these entities are deciding who gets in power in these empires and institutions. They go, okay, we have Christianity, they're getting people towards Jesus. Again, they're about trying to keep people trapped here, right? So because that's an energy source. They lose the energy source, they're done.
Right.
They lose the power, they power down, they're done, right? God comes in, they're dealt with. So that's what they're trying to do. So they went, okay, let's hijack. We can't fully get rid of Jesus' message. It's impossible, right? Because no one will believe them if they do that. So in the hijack, we're going to purge the groups that are a little more closer to Jesus' teaching than we would like. Again, I don't 100% agree with the Gnostics, but there were other Christian groups too that were pretty much purged. Either fall in line with our exact doctrine or you're purged. And they were like murdered, purged, right? It was brutal. Oh, sorry. Oh, she left. She'll come.
Yeah,
She's
she
left
must
on
have
her own.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Hey,
But,
Sean.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
You know, are you? How can I contact you to talk? Are you comfortable with leaving information here or with other fellas or something?
Are you on the Discord?
There's a chat that's
Let me,
just between us, everyone here that's
Yeah.
on the show, so you can put it in there, and Kevin will be able to
Very
see it.
good. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Do you have a Discord, Kevin?
No, I'm afraid I'm the most unsophisticated person you've ever met when it comes to stuff like that. And
With a
many
phone
other
number?
things.
Yeah, but you can find Kevin on Facebook.
There you go. Casey Murphy.
Can you type in the chat and I'll copy that and I'll put it on Facebook and look for you. Funny enough, I can't use my computer Facebook right now. It won't let me log in, even though I use the password and everything, but it'll look fine on my phone.
Oh,
But it
okay.
won't work on my computer. I've had some weird stuff going, let's put it that way. Talking about this stuff, I've had my engine that's perfectly maintained break down, $9,500 to replace.
Wow.
Yeah, like it just blew up pretty much on me. I definitely have a lot of reptilian and Draco entities around, like tapping on my
And
computer.
we
We actually had 3 episodes that we recorded with Sean here, Kevin. If you want to go back and listen to them.
Yeah.
they're very
Thank
good.
you for telling me that, Anthony.
I think that it's like his episodes. They start at one called I believe it's called the Soul Matrix.
Yeah.
Remember the number by any remote chance?
I'm looking at it right now. Let me see.
The Shawnicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it the Shawnicles.
You think my
Okay,
stuff
so,
is good? We take it tacky.
Dick Richards, my man.
Our first episode with Sean here is episode 342.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We all have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Quite a
Kevin,
time
do you
in the
want
world.
to put your Facebook in the comment section there? I'll be able to see it and I'll be able to.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go here in a minute, and I'll leave it in the regular chat column that everyone's part of, rather than this little thing for the guests.
Okay, then let me actually. Can you put it in the StreamYard chat?
Yeah. I'll do that right
private
now.
chat.
Okay, perfect.
That'd be great.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
I feel like someone's grandmother with the answering machine years ago. What do I do? How do I put this there? Where does it go?
Right.
Amazing.
Because again, I got
Okay, because you have a wealth of knowledge about pretty much everything else that actually matters. So if you don't know how to use certain software, then so be it. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's nuts. And like I say, the person I talked to who sent me a photo of their eyes slitted up and they work in the American government, a lot of stuff picked up. I got a lot of attention and heat for that because I began asking some pretty important questions like, what are they waiting for to reveal themselves? Well, what's their end goal? Who's running the institutions and governments of the world? And it was quite the experience. I'm not talking to them now, but quite alarming. And they are in control of the governments. They really are. They've really infiltrated. And they've been running things this entire time. At least as long as most states have been around.
Did you guys have everything go according to plan?
What was that, Andres?
I asked, did Sean ask this person if everything was supposedly going according to plan? Because all the madness that's happening right now?
Oh, well, I can't know how the minds exactly work. If everything was going towards the exact plans, we'd already be in 15-minute cities, and they'd be depleting us. Let's put it that way. So I think the plans have definitely failed to extent. Hello, Josh.
Hey, Wolf.
What's up, man?
How's it going, guys?
Great.
Hey, man. Welcome.
I don't think your microphone's on, brother.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
It's not.
There it is,
Okay.
right there.
Now it's
Sorry
working.
about that. I had a lot of work to do. No, it's in the room. Had a lot going on. Sorry, guys. I couldn't even.
Oh, it's
Good.
fine.
Don't worry, Josh. You're busy.
We're having a lively discussion, Josh.
Yeah, I could see
Yep.
that.
Hey man,
I had to
busy
feed off
man is a
myself as
successful
well, so-
man.
Sorry. Go ahead, Sage.
I was going to say a busy man is a successful man.
I try to.
Right,
I don't know how
Yep.
Right?
successful I am
Yep.
right now, but I'm trying to be. We still haven't finished. The studio's only got like some soundproofing behind me, and that's it. We're still trying to get it set up, and it's still got to echo. This,
How's the other move going, Josh?
which one? I got
At
three.
the hacienda.
The ranch is doing better. We have some issues out there that I got to take care of because there's somebody out there that was basically hijacking water.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And so they rented the back area so they could take water. And so they drained some of our stock tanks,
Hmm.
which is actually illegal because he killed all the fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So that was
screwed up.
real cute. And he dumped a bunch of crap over there. So I have to, I'm really not happy.
Yeah.
Fish and Game is going to love him.
Oh, yeah. No,
Right.
Oh yeah,
we're already into that.
yeah.
But I got Loki and D out there. So we're going to be dealing with it. It's just people do really bad things. You know, you can never underestimate just how bad people are. I mean, never underestimate what they're willing to do. You know, that's the key.
Well, I've got to shoot.
Not been able to keep up with everything that's being said. What is the topic of discussion tonight?
Oh, we've been all over the place, but
Yeah.
there's
We're
a
just
central
talking about
theme.
the infiltration of the government and what all
Right.
these entities are trying to do pretty much right now.
The black cube matrix, spirituality.
Uh-huh.
Reincarnation.
You guys know what the black cube matrix is, right? I mean, you understand?
Prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but whose prison? That's the thing. And why do they
Saturn's.
worship it the way they do?
Saturn.
Saturn,
Yeah.
but who is Saturn?
Kratos or Lucifer.
Well,
Yeah.
Saturn, second
Because
man.
if I had to put my money on it, I would say it would be the Lucifer's prison. But here's the funny thing: people think that it was done. Here's where I disagree with a lot of the Hot Rocks. You're partially right, but that's one of the religions. The other one is Judaism that follows it. Judaism actually put it on their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other fools just run around it. You know. That's the thing that's really frustrating for me is that you have people who see one side of it, like they'll understand the one side. The easy one is Islam. You can see what they're doing. They've made inroads into every country, but people don't understand that they were let in. Who let them in, and why? To what purpose? When you start to understand who the broom is, then you get it. And that's what people don't grasp. And so I argue with these people. They'll be on my Facebook. They make me so tired because they'll be the same people and they'll say the same damn thing. And one lady is so, they don't watch the show. I know they don't, because if they did, they would understand. And they don't. So they don't watch the show. I need to kick them off my Facebook, get rid of them. Just use our own broom and get rid of all this crap, because there's one lady, when they said that they were in the Pentagon, that these Mossad were in our Pentagon like every day.
Yeah.
She's like, better than Islam. I'm like, no, it's not. Believe me, it's really not. Both of them being in your Pentagon is a problem.
Right.
The Republicans and Democrats are very much like anything that a Republican does is okay. Anything, and the Democrats are the opposite. Anything an opposite day, right? So if the Republicans are for Israel, then the Democrats are just whoever, the left, they're automatically, well, I'm going to go for, whatever. I'm going to be with Iran. And that's a problem. They act like it's the 49ers and the Cowboys. This is not a football game. See, they don't understand what this is. They think that this is a game. We're playing a football game here.
Hey, Josh, what's up, brother?
Versus Texas,
But it's a game that we are meant to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropping everything. The sound is going everywhere.
I've got to shoot though, so God bless you, everyone. Have a good night, okay?
All right, Sean.
Yeah, thanks for
Sean.
joining us, Sean.
Good night. Be
brother.
safe out there.
To be continued.
Oh, dude. Take care, everyone.
Everybody, God bless.
All right, Sean. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
You know what's funny? You know, we're in Texas, and I saw the debate between Colin Allred and what's it called? I guess was that Ted Cruz?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the debate between Trump and Biden. What was hilarious was all four of them were trying to argue who's more for that country of 9 million over there. And I said, now they can't agree on anything, but both parties were fighting on the local, state, and federal level. Who fights more for that country of 9 million? Wow.
So like
their masters.
Putin saying he's more Jewish than Zelensky.
The best I can do is 271,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can say this: if you were to look at the voting base, every generation is voting less.
Yeah.
So you have the boomers who all vote. They get their walker and they crawl to the voting box if they have to. And overwhelmingly, literally 77%. I think it's a USA Today thing, whatever. I read it a couple years ago, but I'm sure it's still the same. It was a few years ago during the election. But overwhelmingly, they are pro-Israel. You know why? Does anybody know why? The internet. Because during Generation X, the internet became a thing. We are the one generation who remembers, both, whatever, like it was what it was like to have both, before you were an adult. A lot of us, you're really an adult. And we didn't have this in our youth. And then as adults, bam, it's there. The internet is still not a thing for a lot of boomers. Did you know that it was almost 30% of the boomers say they don't even partake of the internet? They don't use it. So that means that they're still looking at CBS, NBC, WTBS, whatever these channels are that they have nowadays. And a lot of them depend on their children and their grandchildren for any type of
current events, news.
Not current events, technology. So I'm a big numbers guy. I've always said that on the show. And one of the things I always say is that if you look at the numbers, you look at statistics, right? And so one of these people from that country, right, he was on there and he was talking like this, and he was talking crap to this European guy. And he goes, statistically, you are effed, and he was bragging and so proud that the work that they had done was destroying Europe. So here is them admitting that they are the ones behind it. And I put it on my Facebook, but sadly, how many of the boomer generation actually pay attention to that? Not as many as I would like. And when I said this on Random Files, that we need to have their book, the book with the T for dummies, I meant it, and just pass it out to these people at the voting booth. I made a joke because most of them will not read it because it's not CNN and it's not Fox News. Those are literally the same network, but the extreme either way. Mm-hmm. And it panders and caters to people because their job is actually not to fulfill political destiny and what you would consider that. Their political destiny on both sides is to make sure that you support those people. It doesn't matter. The other part is just window dressing, right? So you make a dress for a man, a blue dress, and you give it to the Democrats. You make a red dress for a man and you give it to the Republicans. And everybody says, well, I'm wearing a red dress. And the other ones are like, I'm wearing a blue dress. The point is that you're both wearing a dress and you're a man. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem. But everybody's wearing it because you're told that that's what is good and that's what is right and blah, blah, blah. And what Jesus said is just right out. When you have Ted Cruz telling us that saying Christ is king is anti, I'm like, what is is wrong with you, dude? I cannot believe how many boomers jumped right on that and were like, oh, that's not a good thing. We should stop saying that. And they will absolutely do that because they were raised up. It's not their fault. They were raised up on a steady diet of they are the good guys. They are God's chosen. They are the good guys. And everybody else is bad. And if you, even the Christians don't have a right because those were God's chosen people. So we're just Christians. We're not God's chosen people. When in fact, the biggest crime committed against us as a people was our birthright being stolen from us.
Yeah, okay.
And then they said that we're going to be destroyed if we don't follow them. Well, that's cute too, because they are correct. We will be destroyed, but it's not because we're not following. It's because we've followed them up to this point. And now we're being destroyed. So after it's all said and done, those people are going to go, well, look, you didn't follow and now you're destroyed. No, you did that to us. Why have they managed to finagle through all the wars and everything else? Because of us. That's why. You think that they would have won their war? They declared war on Germany, not the other way around. So do you think that they would have won that war if we hadn't gone over there and did what we did? No. No, we had to lose 300,000 people to go over there and save them from a war that they really started. They declared war. The Jewish National Congress declared war on Germany. Because
now they hate Russia.
They wanted it.
Russia lost what? How much was it? Like 5 million, 10 million? It was millions of soldiers before the winter came, and you know,
25 million, bro.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So when you look at the war, it was really an ideological war to destroy communism. And you have people in this country now that go around celebrating communism because they are fooled into believing that they were the good guys. Because we were told that Germany, Japan, Italy, all those countries that were the Axis, that they were bad because they wanted to flip the coin and stop doing things the way that they were being done. There's a whole lot of stuff there to unpack, and I'm going to get back on Random Files. There's a reason why I'm not on there right now. We have to finish our monetization. As soon as we are done with that, that will be something that we go back and, you know, it's really sad to see how many Russians and Germans killed each other for ideology, but it had to happen. Somebody had to at least try and get the dragon out of Europe. A dragon that was brought about by 12 of those people from the tribe. And when you look at the creation of communism, you think, wow, that is the worst thing. Get this. That is the worst thing that they ever created, right? And then I tell people, well, what about that other religion? Well, what about it? Do you think that the angel Gabriel just came down and told this guy who married his little girl and had Africans riding him all night, according to the Quran?
Yeah, what it says.
He was basically yeah. You really think that this man,
Factual story,
the true story, yeah,
yep, true story.
Do you really think that he, as ignorant as he was, did it on his own? No. There's a story that goes along with that, and they were called the 10 wise rabbis, whatever. And they created a bulwark against Christianity. And once again, they love to create golems. The two worst golems that they've ever created, right? Islam and communism. And that there is the problem, because even on this show, how many people really know, right? But you can't expect somebody who's in their 60s and 70s, who's been raised, you know, on a steady diet of just the television, the radio, all controlled media, all of it, and all controlled by one group of people. Do you really think that they're going to wake up and understand? No, they're not. So each subsequent generation becomes more, you know, deprogrammed. Our generation is like 48% now. It's pretty high. It's almost half of us have figured it out. But the millennials are almost like 70% or 65 or something like that, 65%. And then these Zoomers, they're like 90% deprogrammed. They don't give a crap. They're like, no, dude, we don't believe in this crap, you know. Sadly, what comes along with that is the erosion of our faith, the erosion of Christianity. the erosion. And what I mean by that is that if we have people who are waking up, a lot of it is at the cost of Christianity, because we have this thing now called Judeo-Christian, which is not a real thing. That's as stupid as calling it Christo-Islam. There is no Christo-Islam,
Yeah.
but putting Judeo in front of it, that doesn't make it correct. Because Islam is a carbon copy of Judaism. Do you know why I know this? Because I've read all of their books. I've read the Hadiths. I've read the Quran. Every damn satanic passage in those books. I've read the Talmud. I've read the Kabbalah. And I've read them all twice. So if you go back and you read it, you might miss something. Go back and reread it. And you'll be reading it and go, oh, they make some valid points. Now I can see why people follow them. Because even if you were, dumb enough to fall for that, I mean, because people do it all the time. But like it says in the Bible, it says if it were possible, the elect would be fooled. Right? Who is the elect? That's you guys. That's you guys. Everybody that's in here listening, who's actually taking it in and absorbing the knowledge. Those are people who are now elect. You won't be fooled because it's not possible. So you can read the book of knowledge, right? You can read the Book of Mormon. I've read it. One of my good friends is a Mormon. I don't really think he's a Mormon. I think he just likes to use the Mormon system because they're very powerful.
Cheerio. I'm a Mormon.
Yeah, but he does. He's not a real Mormon. They're way more lax now because they've spread themselves out the further away from Rome, right?
Yeah.
But you have to team up with someone in this day and age to get anywhere, folks. If you try to go it alone and you try to do things by yourself, you are going to have issues. So I'm telling you right now, you have to start getting together with people and work together to accomplish things. You have to trust somebody at some point. And I'm just telling you, I don't know who or how or what we're going to do. I can't, I don't have any plans of what to do. But one of my friends reached out to me and he says, he's a devout Christian. And he says, you need to start a church. And I told him, I said, well, I can't do that as a what do you call it? A business. What do you call it? I can't do it. He says, well, why not? I said, because it's tax exemption. I said, no, only for those that do a 501c. That means that you can't preach out against abortion. You can't speak out against any of these people. You can't speak out against Islam, Judaism, or any other. You have to basically just get out there like Joel Osteen and just feel good. And
Cotton candy preacher.
Yeah, cotton candy for days. So what kind of church is that? That's not a church. That's a feel-good thing. Or you come out and you scream at people, they're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. Those are the two options. If you start going into anything of any real substance, you cannot be a church. So this is all part of the plan. This is all stuff that they're trying to make happen. That's the deal. I mean, and I'll do a random files on Rumble if you'd like, and I'll cut loose. And I'll tell you exactly, step by step, why World War II was bullcrap. And I'll tell you exactly what they did, how they did it, why they did it, and who's benefiting from it. And think about this. Did you know that Japan was actually paying these people for what? Because they were.
What did they do?
What did they do? That's why in 94, they were like, we're done. What is this? We didn't do it to you. Oh, but you were friends with the people that, who cares? My cousin Jimmy stabbed a guy, and
You got to pay his medical bills.
what does that have to do with me? I wasn't with Jim. I didn't do it. Well, you're related to him, so, Still, I wasn't even in town when it happened. I had nothing to do with that. He was at a dance hall. He stabbed a guy. He literally really happened. He stabbed a guy. I did 2 years for it. In self-defense. But they said, oh, well, he had 3 guys on him. You still shouldn't have used a knife. But he did 2 years. But here's the thing. My name got brought into it like I had nothing to do with it. And the police came by and asked me if I was there. I said, no, okay, bye. And that was it. But this is the thing. When the Iron Curtain fell, how many of those countries had to pay these people? Poor countries that had been destitute because of communism. And then they end up having to pay these people for years and years and years. And Romania,
Still paying.
Yeah. They're just like, why are we paying for you? Oh, well, you were their ally. Germany is paying them $1 billion a year. Romania, Hungary. I'm telling you, all Austria, all these countries, you would not believe how many countries. They cut a deal with Italy. Italy stopped paying them. I don't know when, but how much is enough? Like, how much is enough? And this is not Israel. We're talking about the rabbinical associations.
Every last drop of blood.
Mm-hmm. This is my point. You know.
Imagine.
So I look
Insane,
at this
dude.
situation
It's
as like
insane.
we have a noose around our neck and we are on the stool. A light breeze could blow us off at this point, and we need to stop. And there are people that are hell-bent on helping them. And what Groove said about how they are arguing over who loves them the most. This is insanity, dude. This is a recipe for disaster. I can tell you right now, I am not a Trump fan. Now, I still stand by this. People keep needling me. Well, do you still stand by him after what he did? No, I do not. But I can tell you this. What was the alternative? Oh, communism. That's right. That's what we would have had. And they still don't want to admit that, because if the left wasn't so damn stupid and crazy, we wouldn't have had to vote for this maniac.
Remember
Because
that
it was-
South Park
And
episode?
maniac he is.
Remember
is.
that South Park episode about voting where they give you the option between a giant douche and a turd sandwich? And that's your only
You know, I
option?
know Kevin knows this because Kevin's old like me. But but Kevin remembers this.
I'm
You
even
remember,
older.
Kevin, when they used to tell us back in the 80s, well, if you didn't vote, don't complain. I'm like,
That's
you're
right.
giving me the option between a douche and a turd sandwich. And I
That's
can't
right.
complain. I don't want to eat either one of these.
Yeah, you're considered to not have an opinion that was valid at all.
You
if
don't
didn't
have
make
an
at least the
opinion.
effort
We
to
gave
get to
you
the booth,
two candidates, a fascist and a communist. Why didn't you vote?
Yeah.
Like, well, what is the option? Do we have a third option? No, we do not. Don't complain. Don't complain.
I'd rather go
You could've
Bobby
had
Barackers than a
Ron
piranha
Paul.
tank.
But but now you got this because
Yeah. Well, they said you could have voted for Bernie. I mean, he's a straight up Jewish communist. Why didn't you vote for Bernie? I mean, what is your problem? Are you racist? Are you anti-Semitic? I mean, it's crazy when that guy from Palestine, he has that little thing where he says, "Hi, I'm from Palestine." All the Jews start screaming at him.
Yeah, they go
And they're
crazy.
Like, "You're anti-Semitic," and he's like, "I am Semitic," and they're like,
Right.
No," and it's a white person telling him
Yeah.
that he's anti-Semitic.
Dude, even the kids.
Yeah, they scream and
They-
they
they-
curse.
they
him
start
and
cussing
They
at
do the
him.
little, they like the little curse or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there looking at these people, and you're going like, "This is who we are supporting." They shoot people in the head and they kill them. They when the food gets dropped, they run out
Run them
there
over with cars.
They
And
kill
they
'em.
gang raped a dude. 5 of them gang raped a dude. They
Yeah.
put their shields up to try to block.
I posted it on Facebook.
Bro.
And then of course somebody says this is AI. I'm like, no, it's not. This is real news.
Oh Lord.
If AI means inserting the anus, then yeah, I guess it is.
Let's try not to say things like that because I'm already,
My bad. I tried.
Yeah, but well, apparently
Yeah,
they did too. They tried really hard and they succeeded. But
I don't know
thing-
what,
I love how your
what
voice
bothers
matches your
me-
avatar.
Oh shit! I mean, shoot. What bothers me about that? I'm watching that and I'm looking at these shields and these dudes kind of huddling in the corner. Reminds me of my football days. I'm looking like there is no way in the middle of a battle zone in the desert I'm gonna be able to, catch a brick down there. You know what I mean? To be able to, even if it was a pretty grown woman, but it's a dude.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like what's wrong with y'all?
A lot. Evidently.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of wrong. I mean, when you stop and you look at this, and it's something that Islamic people don't want to admit, but I've argued with them vehemently, and I'm like, there's a lot of evidence that says that your religion was actually created by them. No, brother. No, yeah, brother, yeah. And they did it to destroy my religion because these people, what do they do when someone offends them? You know what they did for centuries? It was the golem. You create a golem. And we talked about it on the show in one of our episodes that there was a golem. Remember the family in California? Now the family there starts with an R, but the R family, they had nothing to do with that, but it was something that was done in those shanties. And so somebody had done that. They unleashed something very horrible. When you stop and you look at what a golem is, do the math, do the research, look at what that is.
That's what
They
the Muffin
created
Man
it.
is. That's what the Muffin Man, the original story of the Muffin Man is a golem that was created.
I didn't know that.
Well, you remember, Dick, though,
You should-
you're a moron according to people who believe in science.
The biggest
Wasn't I,
moron.
aren't I the biggest moron ever?
Yeah, you're the
Yeah,
biggest
you are.
ever. They said, you're the worst dumb moron. That's what the guy was telling, or woman, whoever it was.
But at least you're number one.
He said, you're
Right?
number one. You're Schmitty Jaegerman.
Tie for number one.
Amazing.
You know, but the thing is, we get together here. We don't have a lot of people here tonight. It's 236 people, but we get together here, you know. And a lot of people say, "Well, this is kind of like church." You can say it's like church, but it isn't church. What church is a really formal thing that should be church. But unfortunately, the church has been, and somebody just said it. Law, what's up, Law Morgan? I love that dude. He just said the church is infiltrated at its inception. So what are we to do? What are we supposed to do, right? But two or more gathered in my name, he says it, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Jesus is the man. He says it.
Just quoted that earlier tonight.
Yeah. So here's what it says here. The church is infiltrated at its inception. Jesuits ruled the church. See, now I talked about that with somebody yesterday, the Jesuits. And like you stop and you think about it, and you're like, who are they? Right? They are the compromised cells of the Catholic Church. They spread out their cancer cells. That's what they did. And instead of getting a real religion, the true Christian religion, you're getting this watered down, compromised version. It's like the difference between fresh squeezed juice and processed. Because once they've processed it and put it through every little filter that they could come up with, you don't even have juice. You have Franken juice. Like it's some kind of mismatch. So now we go to the grocery store. Speaking of juice and groceries, you go to the juice aisle, whatever. You have to look and see how many additives there are in the juice.
Right.
You have to look and see how much sugar they've bombed it with. But there is something I'm going to do on the Random Files. I'm going to teach you guys how to shop for groceries. To get something that is not compromised, you have to look for a U with a circle around it or a K with a circle around it, because those are two of the rabbinical associations that they control that. They don't poison themselves. They poison us. They give us goyslop, and then they themselves eat things that are better, for them. They know better. But it doesn't help, because when you're spiritually, bankrupt, you're still going to be physically deformed. And because the physical, oftentimes, have you ever met a person who's really, really evil? And I'm talking like you can tell that they are truly evil, and you get around them, get this. And this is not 100%, but they can't hide certain things. They'll have certain things about them, because sometimes mentally sick people, they don't have good hygiene. You ever notice that? Not everybody's the same. There's people that that have good hygiene and they're evil, but there's people that don't have. I've been in suit and tie world around people, and I'll be sitting there in a meeting and I'll walk by somebody and they have this odor about them. They smell terrible. And I'm like, does this person, they slick themselves together real good, but they never bathe, obviously. They smell horrible. Sometimes you get downwind of them. I was outside. There was a guy smoking, and he was an evil person. I'm just not going to get into it. He was a corporate guy, and he was smoking a cigarette. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry," because I was like, "Oh." And he said, "Oh, did the cigarette smoke get to you?" And I lied. I was like, "Yeah, it was the cigarette." No, it was his sulfur that smelled. He smelled like sulfur. He smelled terrible. He smelled horrible. He'd like his underarms, his body was gross. Underneath, when he took off that suit, I bet you his dogs wouldn't come to him. And as long as I worked with that guy, he never bathed. And thank God I didn't have to be around him very often. And other people notice this. You know who else they talk about that smells that way? Take a guess. In politics. It's a woman in politics.
Hillary.
Oh, Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
The Secret Service, the guy that wrote that book, I mean, they wanted him to take it down because she smelled so bad. They said she was horrible. She smelled like rotten eggs.
Some of the women that used to work for her in the kitchen at their governor, when she was at the governor's mansion, said they had wrote something and posted something that said, yeah, she was real musty and real mean too.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were people that talked about Michelle Obama that's smelling terrible too.
Leave Big Mike alone, please.
Big Mike. Yeah.
Buddy, I wish
I
my
said
back looked like Big Mike's.
If you go further down the rabbit hole and you talk to some of these people, get around these politicians. Years ago, there was a senator that used to always, I don't know why he was always in these hotels around Austin. I didn't ask because he lived here. He had a house. Obviously, I don't know what he was doing there. But I used to deliver pizza years ago, and I'd deliver pizza to him, and I'd open the door. He'd open the door to that hotel, and it would just smell like it just had a stench in there, like And years later, I was around lizards. Like not like this little dude, geckos. I'm talking about lizards, like my monitor lizards. A friend of mine had them, and when she would feed them and open the deal, they just smelled like that. And I was like, "What is that?" She goes, "Yeah, they smell bad." Yeah, I remember that senator when he opened the door, smelling like that.
Unclean spirits, brother.
Mm-hmm. So you start to get this weird, you start to figure it out. Why do these people smell the way they do? Why do they, whatever? They're nasty, dude. And I'm going to say this. I've been at the church in Islam, and they go in there and they wash their feet. Now, that's an admirable thing. They clean themselves before they do their services or whatever. But try imagining the smell in there, right? And then when the Tiny Hats, when they won the war, let's be honest, they won the war. They all marched into a big tent, and he said that they were all in there laying down the law and telling everybody how things were going to be, and they had this big old meeting. He said it was in his memoirs. He said he almost vomited from the smell of these people. The Orthodox, if you're around them, I was around one of them at the jewelry store one day. It was so obnoxious. The smell would just knock you off of a camel, dude. It was so bad. These people, you start to wonder, like, okay, there is a connection between mental illness. Get this, connect the dots. There's a connection between mental illness and spiritual sickness, right? We're starting to figure out that maybe people aren't as maybe there's a connection there, right?
I think they're one and the same.
They're one and the same. You believe that? A lot of people do, right? I don't want to offend people because some people are like, well, I have a mentally ill cousin or sister, brother, wife, whatever, husband. But the thing is, they are oftentimes they are spiritually oppressed, and they are very bad about hygiene. They do not believe in it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I've been around mentally ill people. They don't believe in hygiene. And doing my job, I'm around the same people. They'll wear the same shirt for 3 days, and they will not wash themselves. I'm not even joking. You smell these people, and you just want to vomit in your mouth. You're like, oh God, dude. And you got to keep a level of decorum. But that being said, that they smell like this, right? So that is their unclean spirit. That is their unclean hygiene. So why is it such a stretch that if you're voting for these people and this is how they are, do you not see that obviously they have spirits on them that are demonic, that are evil? Why would a person care? If they're a sociopath, they don't give a crap about you and what your nose is smelling. Well, they're not self-aware. No, they are. They just don't care. They're people that absolutely do not care. That's it. They don't. When you take a bath, it's not just for, people around you to smell or whatever, but to clean yourself. It's a good habit to take a bath every day, right? It's one of the luxuries of modern life. But these people don't do that. Because that spirit doesn't care whether or not they're clean, and they don't care whether or not you smell it. They don't care. It's just as simple as that. It's not even a hard to figure out thing. But, people nowadays, it's like the pattern recognition is going away. And unfortunately, the older generation, which is the one that is clinging to, we got to support them, they are the ones that have better pattern recognition. My generation followed, and then now each subsequent generation is getting worse at it because they're giving them VAXs that are knocking that out.
Yeah.
But it's their way of getting, keeping everything status quo, because once the pattern recognition is completely gone, then everybody's homogenized. There's no race, there's no religion, there's no gender. And that becomes a problem because now everybody's going to vote and do things a certain way, and they're going to keep everything, whatever, because people can't recognize patterns. Right? And it's sad. It's really sad because that's how they're going to get our younger generation, because they're confused. They understand this about these people, but sadly, they're not recognizing the patterns in their own, like they don't look around and see that things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Right. And that's how they're getting you. If we got off of those, because autism is virtually, it's non-existent in the Amish community. Now, the Amish aren't good people. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say they are. I'm going to tell you right now, they are weird. And people will go, the Amish, and they don't understand. I'm not going to get into a whole thing. I've had guests on. We've talked about it. Do the research, okay? But one of the problems that they do not have, right, is autism. And that is because they do not VAX their children. And guess what? Their children are fine. Now dogs are starting to die way, way early. And you said, well, why are dogs dying early? You know, it's pattern recognition there again. I saw it. And I started looking into it. I started researching. This is something I came to on my own. It wasn't an article I read. I just looked it up.
Josh,
One in 2 dogs develops cancer. Why is that?
So my dog got a jab the other day, a couple of months ago. My dad, it lives at my dad's house, and they came. I went over the next day, and they said that they had just gone and done that. The dog's eyes were cross-eyed. She developed hip dysplasia instantly. She started getting a bunch of lumps on her, and that dog was cooked, man. She's doing a little bit better now, but yeah, for like the first couple of weeks, I was like, "What did they even do to you?" And then she came over here for a week when they went on vacation, and I'm just like, "What did they do to this dog?" Well, you know what they did to the dog, so. Case in point.
I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
I appreciate it.
That's awful. I really, what did they do? I'm not, I thought that was Josh to explain what he thinks I understand already. I do not.
Rabies and whatever else they're giving them.
Yeah, but he was using the term BX or B.
VAX. Okay.
Oh, the VAX.
I want to say the word because I don't want to get.
Gotcha. Sorry.
My algorithms are in the garbage can again. We're down. They're hurting us. Here's the thing, though. The dogs, the cats, they're getting all these whatever. There is one that they're giving now that's a newer one. Do you know what it is?
Bordatello.
Lepo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so you give them that one, and their dogs are going blind. They're going deaf. They're losing their balance. They're just, it's crazy, dude. And what did the vet do? They pushed that on us. You need to, there's a big heavy set woman who plays for the same team, put it that way. She's like, you need to get those dogs to Aleppo. You know, talk just like that. I mean, I'm not even doing it justice. And I said, why is that? Because if you don't, they die. And I was like, no, they don't. The mosquitoes are bad here. You know, and I'm like, and I said, oh, it must be Bill Gates. Why would you say that? That sounds like me, which I. You know, and I'm like, well, whatever, lady. That is what they're doing.
100%.
He said, what if they drink out of a puddle? I said, well, that's good. My dogs don't drink out of puddles. You give them every excuse. Well, what if a squirrel pooped in the puddle and then they they stepped it on their paw and then they chewed on their paw? Yeah, you know what? And what if I just grabbed the hot wire outside and just electrocuted my head off?
Do you know that
it
dogs
could happen,
actually?
But the probability is very slim that I'm going to do that.
You know that dogs actually drink out of puddles because they're minerally deficient and they're drinking it for the fulvic minerals.
They do that. They eat grass like that too. So I tell them, I said, look, I feed my dogs correctly. I give them nutrition supplements, and we don't drink out of puddles. We're good.
I'm going to use that excuse when people ask me about my grass consumption.
You and I both.
You know, it's another thing they do. They were giving us this thing called trifecta, and they were like, put it on your dog's back. And I'm like, what is in this? This is a chemical. It stops them from getting, parasites or whatever. No, it doesn't. Now, if you use it every month, like they tell you to use it, then it might stop them from getting, caused by mosquitoes. Gosh dang it. I know what it is.
West Nile, dengue.
Heartworms.
Heartworms.
Yeah, so it'll stop them from getting heartworms. But you know what else will stop that? There's a natural home remedy that you can use on your dog's back. You don't need to do that, and it'll go into their skin. You just rub it on them, right? It's a whole thing. It's like vinegar and lemon juice and a whole bunch of stuff. There you go, and garlic. And guess what? Mosquitoes do not go for them. You know, and that's the thing. People don't realize before. What did we do? What were we doing? You know, I had aunts and uncles and great aunts and uncles who had dogs that lived to be 15, 20 years. Unbelievable
Exactly.
how long these dogs live. And what happened? What changed between back in those days to now? What took place that made everything? Somebody's got an echo going on. I don't know what that is. But what took place that made this now the way it is now? Like, what in the hell is going on? You're sitting there looking at this and you're going like, dude, did something happen that made our dogs just weak as hell? No, dude. It's first of all, it's the food. They're giving them food. And do you know that
in the air.
more and more dogs are starting to have this where they get the shakes and they fall over and stuff like that? Do you know what that is? Does anybody know what that is?
No.
It's kuru. Yeah, dogs can get it too. So do pigs, and so do cows. Yeah,
What
it's
is it?
mad cow disease. It's literally because these dog food companies, the dog, especially the really bad ones, it's basically cereal for dogs, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
But what they do put in there when they say real beef, you know what that beef is? It's spinal cord and brain and different parts that the animal that nobody's going to want to eat. And if you eat that, you're taking a chance on getting it's CJD, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. You're taking a chance on getting those prions in your brain, and all mammals are susceptible to it. Right? So then you give your dogs kuru by giving them these cheap dog foods, these horrible dog foods. Don't give them Old Roy. Don't do that. If you love your dog, if you can't afford to get a dog and feed them properly, then don't get one, because these dog food companies will kill your dog. So you have what's polluting them. You have the VAXs that they make you do. They say, well, you got to do this, right? And if not, you don't get a certificate that says that my doggie's in line, and then the dog catcher comes and tries to, you know. So that's one of them. And then the food. Those are the two main things. Beyond that, also, they have a very sensitive olfactory system. And they smell everything. A dog can be blind and still see because they see with their nose. It's something we can't even comprehend. They can disseminate information with their nose like we do our brain with our eyes.
You know that a wolf can find a single person in New York City?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. A million times better than our scent. No,
That's amazing.
unbelievable. So when you start looking at all of this, and you start looking at like, why are our pets dying and this and that, it's they're doing the same thing to our pets they do to us.
Yeah.
But they're getting rid of us. We're useless eaters to them. And so
Too many of
why
us.
not? I mean, you have their religion over there telling you, oh, well, don't get a dog because, you know, whatever. And they're running around with bullhorns and saying that dogs are haram. You're not supposed to have a dog. Because dogs actually are your first line of defense.
Yeah.
Dogs are your first line of defense mentally, spiritually, physically. There's a reason why we became so close with our animals. And so they're telling you not to have them. I had a Muslim, he came to my house, you know, and he was a friend. He worked for us. And he didn't come to hang out. He was coming, we were to give him a uniform and some stuff. And he says, brother, you should not have these animals in your house. And I said, why? Acted ignorant. I know what he's talking about. And he said, this is horrible. This is bad. The Prophet Muhammad. And I was like, he's gay. What? What? I said, yeah, you're following a gay dude. I don't follow gay people. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he says, no, that's just Judaism. I said, no, it's you too. I got very offended. He just dropped the shirt on the ground. I said, pick that up. You're in my freaking house. Pick it up. He picked it up. I said, now hand it to me. And he did. I said, get the F out of my house. Needless to say, the employment didn't work out. So he complained to the
Devil's in
HR
the
department,
details.
which we do not have. I answered the phone. I'm like, hey, I'm the HR department. What's going on? I need to file a complaint. I'm like, okay, F your mother. And I hung up. No, I'm joking. I didn't have, but I did. That did altercation. We almost had an altercation about it. And his friend, who's Islamic, told me, oh, man, he's just the way he is. Because this is how they are. You give them a gift, and they do this. And not all of them, but some of them. And I handed out steaks. We do every year. So 2 years ago, I gave one of my friends who was living down South Austin, went there, and I gave him some steaks. And he goes, is this halal? He did this to me. And I looked at him, and I said, I'm not going to say his name. His name is Madir. I said, Madir, why would you ask me if it's freaking halal? What am I? You look at me. I'm a Christian, right? You know that. You've known me for 6 years. You know, I do you a favor. I come down here to bring you some steak, and you ask me if it's freaking halal. Fuck no, it's not halal.
Wolf, did you sacrifice this meat to Satan?
No, I did not. And I told him, I said, take it or leave it. You want it? And he took it. I said, okay, fine. I was like, don't ever ask me that again. That's a ridiculous thing to ask me. If you brought me food, I'm not going to ask you whatever. It's a gift. And to act like that is ridiculous behavior. Especially when these people, I've seen them pull pepperonis off of a pizza with all that grease on top of it and eat it.
Come on, man.
And you're like, dude, get out of here with this bullshit. This is the kind of people that they are. And this is why they are being pushed into our country. You know why? The main reason why they are being pushed into our country, do you want to know why that is? What do people think the reason is? What do people in the audience think the reason is? You probably have all kinds of different reasons. You might be right about it a little bit. But the main reason is because we're incompatible, right? Because if these were Christian people and they were coming here, a lot of this Christian people would be like, oh, well, they're Christians like us. But they're not your race. They're not your religion. And they don't like modernity in a lot of ways. And in some ways, they're right about that. But when you are incompatible with a group of people and you're shoved into the room with them, what happens? Have you ever taken a bug like a spider and a scorpion and put them in a freaking cube together?
Exactly.
Yeah. You see it on the internet. They put these bug fights. They fight immediately. So the scorpion is on one side and the spider's on the other, and they're just kind of like this, like, man, So they'll do this horrible thing. There's these Asian people. They have this channel. They took it down and they brought it back. And I'm not gonna lie, I was watching because it was intriguing. What happens when you put a praying mantis in with a centipede and they start killing each other? So they shake the box and then they fight, and because they are not compatible. Scorpions are not compatible with praying mantises. Let's say that, right? But we are supposed to be compatible with a group of people who are as barbaric as the Flintstones, maybe even more so.
But not as funny.
And not as funny, and they covered up more. So
there's a group.
You bring them here to our countries, right? Canada, Australia, United States, UK, and France, and Germany, and you're wondering why they're not working out. But look at the people who propagated all this. Look at the people who did all of this. Who are they really? Who are the people that were behind all of this? Well, let's take a look at Angela Merkel. Who was she? Who is Angela Merkel?
President of Germany.
President of Germany. But she's not even German. Do you know what she is?
But I can guess.
Yeah. And guess what? Her dad was real high up in the Eastern German Communist Party. They didn't go away. They just changed. They slithered into a new suit, and then they took over, and they said, this is what we're going to do. Well, and nobody caught on. Years ago when the EU was formed, I said, this is the worst mistake that they could ever make.
Absolutely.
It was the worst thing that they could have ever done. And I predicted it. And I wish, my brother was in here with me. He could tell you. I predicted it. Oh, Scorpion's here. He's heard me preach about this. And I said, look, you give it 10 years and Europe is going to be dissolved. They've dipped it in nitric acid. You know what they're going to do? They're going to bring in people who are incompatible. And it has to be a religion. And do you know why that is? You take a guess. Why is it that they had to bring in a religious group of people and not just any old group of people? Why is that?
Because they'll stick together.
No, that's part of it. But I'll tell you what my theory is on this, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is my theory. Not only do they stick together, so you're right, but that's part of it. The thing is, they are going to be diametrically opposed to two things. One, Christianity in and of itself, because it's totally different, right? And then they're going to be opposed to the lackadaisicalness of Christianity, compromised Christianity, which allows for the horrible, horrible attributes of the left. Men wearing women's clothes, women acting like men, just the pornography, the sleazy, nasty everything. And then that gives them more of a reason to dislike you and then to assault you and hurt you and your children because you are living haram. Not just because of your religion, because if you look at Islam and you look at it correctly, Christianity existed in Islamic empires for centuries. For centuries, it thrived in Islamic empires because they were allowed to be there.
Yeah.
If you do an entire mock-up of the Templars and you start to realize where they really got their wealth, oh man, it was from mimicking the usury. But where did it initially come from? Yeah. Then you start to go down that rabbit hole and you realize like Christianity and Judaism and Islam all lived underneath Christianity perfectly fine. They lived under Islam perfectly fine in these regions, right? Iran has a very large Jewish population. Did you know that?
And Christian population too.
Very large Christian population.
I know some Iranian Christians, good families.
I do too. I do too. The Moroccans have the same system. They have it too.
Syria?
Panzer?
Panzer.
Yeah, brought Panzer up here. They opened the door.
Artist is trying to get in.
These cats are smart, dude. So what's crazy is like if you look at these people, these populations, then you start to realize like this is not what they say it is. And why are things the way that they are? Because they brought it about. So they needed this to happen because you butt heads with them and now everybody hates everybody. And you get Christianity and Islam to fight and destroy and weaken one another. And then you build hatred. All you see on the internet is stuff, memes about Islam, because, and that's, I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with it, but you're seeing them go after them, but you're not seeing them go after the creator of this, the people that created it. You know, that's how they do it. Communism is bad. Islam is bad. But what about you? You're the one that created it. You're the one that brought it into our communities. You're the one that shoved it down our throats. Right?
Excuse me, Josh. I have to duck out for a little bit.
All right, man.
If I don't get back here in time, it's been a privilege. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, Kevin.
Hey, God bless, Kevin.
All right, Kevin. I'll see you.
Thanks, Kevin.
So yeah, you and I will talk soon. If I don't get back here tonight, I'll give you a buzz a little bit. All right.
Yeah, we need to talk anyway, Kevin. We'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Need to have a conversation with you and Richard.
Looking forward to that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Gentlemen.
So this is what we're dealing with. You're dealing with a power that is smart enough to shove their enemies into a box with each other. And when that happens, well, of course, somebody's going to have to be on top. And once they're weak and they're all jacked up, then you're in charge. You win. So that is probably like the best scenario that I can explain. Like I can, that's the best way I can explain it to you without saying a lot of stuff that would get me in trouble. But yeah. Whoever would like to really go deeper into this conversation, we could take this to Rumble right now. We'll just kill the stream here and be done. We're already at 2:30. Let's get out of here. And we'll go to Rumble and I'll talk and I'll answer any question you want to ask about any subject you want to ask about. And we'll do the real random files. Put the link up there to the real random files on Rumble. Because I'm waiting on YouTube on the other channel. Let's give it a title. What do you think? You want to go, Richard, or do you need to go to
Oh
sleep?
yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
We'll go over there, and we'll probably get only about 100 people because for some reason people won't all go. But we'll go over there, and I'll explain a lot of things to you, and I can say whatever I want over there. You'd be shocked at what can happen when we talk about the real reality. And Pete Pachero says pre-April Fool's Day. Yeah. And Pachero, I know you're a boomer. I'm not attacking boomers. I'm talking about the brainwashing that was done to you guys, and just like with us too. And then the internet happened, changed everything.
Yeah, didn't it?
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing it did was kill community.
Yeah, it did for sure.
Yeah.
And I understand Dawn says she's tired. She can't go over there. It's 11:30. You know, we'll see what we can get over there, but I'll talk about it. I'm sorry I came in late. I was at the ranch. I had to come back and, you know, clean myself up and whatever. But here we are. So we'll head over there. Let's go ahead. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.